everyone.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. We are Chance Encounters here with you with Tales from Miniry Village. If this is your first time joining the stream, welcome. We play a little Blue Rose Age RPG every week, right here at this time. And yeah, we're just going to dive into it. These are my amazing players. Say hello, everybody.
Hello.
So to catch up anybody who perhaps has not seen our first couple of episodes, this is basically a game that takes place in a small village called Miniry. We follow the exploits of various members of the Miniry Village Council. We have Micah, the City Watch captain. We have Blue, the Raven Raiden representative. We have Rami, the gossip about town and community sort of organizer, in quotes. And we have Val, who is the sort of spiritual leader as well as the healer at the temple. And so far, the missions that you have been doing, mission sounds weird, the goals that you've been trying to pursue so far is that since you are in a very, you're kind of in a frontier area in the country of Aldis, you have been going about various settlements nearby, trying to broker peace and trying to get some communication lines developed so that those of the various factions around you can all get along and everything can be nice and united and not filled with conflict and terror at all times. As you are extremely far from the kingdom's power, it means that a lot of the problems that come your way have to be dealt by you, which so far you've done a very good job. Most recently, you journeyed into the neighboring Weald, an area that is filled with, kind of suffused with powerful arcana, a big forest that stretches across the northern landscape. You went there, overcoming an area known as the Beast Fields, which are kind of especially weird and zany, where you met a giant peacock that you have now since claimed, whose name we have decided is Fred. And you went there to talk to a settlement, the settlement of Noroth, who are a group of criminals. And you went there during a wedding. There was also a bandit attack that happened at the same time. A lot of crazy things happened, and you managed to pull through, getting lines of communication nailed down with Noroth. It isn't quite, you haven't quite made, pacts and peace treaties yet, but at the very least you have sort of opened people up to the idea of, hey, let's be nice together. So after that whole escapade that you all went through, you have returned to Miniry Village. Just to go over a couple of things, Blue, you and your bodyguard Tessic, who is a Rye cat, kind of hang out in a massive tree that's sort of the center of town. You're keeping an eye on everything at the behest of a unicorn that assigned you both to this village to make sure that the pesky two legs don't go and ruin everything, as they are prone to do with their axes and their machines and their technology. Micah, you come from the nearby mountains, from a clan of night people, and you never saw the sun until fairly recently. And you are now have been made the city watch captain because you're so incredibly strong, but nobody really knows yet that you have no idea how to fight or organize a city watch or anything like that. Your appointment was definitely a diplomatic choice rather than a need for military assets choice.
Absolutely.
Rami, you are you've kind of come in. You've kind of a hostile takeover of the local village newspaper. You gather gossip and you know all the secrets, and if you don't, you are very quick to uncover them in this village. And you, of course, are ready to engineer certain things if you have to. You're kind of sending out some puppet strings here and there in case they ever need to be pulled. And Val, of course, you are just desperately trying to take care of an entire village, your young daughter, and the Exarch of Pride, who is a godlike being who decided to show up to your temple not too long ago and just hang out. He really just wants to just go on vacation for a bit, and he thought that hiding in the temple would be the most amusing option. And so far, he seemed pretty chill, but of course, there is the tension in the back of your mind that any second he could cause some kind of nuclear explosion, but you'll have to worry about that later. So where we are today, we actually leveled up after the events of last session. So we're just going to go over what that means for everybody. So let's start with Blue. Let's see. Why don't you just very quickly go over what kind of stuff you got when you leveled up?
Well, I got the talent Quick Reflexes, and that essentially means, actually I can read it verbatim, it's pretty short description. Novice. You are prepared for action in an instant. Once per turn or round, you can use your ready action as a free action. So I'm just very fast, and I'm good at dodging things.
Excellent. Very, very cool. Yeah, so let's see. I want to go over a quick scene of what this looks like for Blue, sort of growing as a person and as a Raiden representative in this town. What do you think exemplifies the way you have grown here?
Well, I think he's far more like he just knows more about people in his younger years. Blue didn't really like spend too much time around them aside from the forest folk who act very different from the people who are of the like civilized community. So he takes that into account. He just is far more understanding of their society.
Mm-hmm. And
he
I think
doesn't think they're all
especially,
evil.
which is a nice step forward.
Right.
Still can't trust all of them yet, but yeah, so far nothing too terrible has happened. I think it's interesting as well because you have the ability to read objects, which is to say you can, through the power of Arcana, you can sort of see the history of certain things depending on how well your object reading goes that day. So that could be interesting if like you've probably amassed a small hoard at this point in your nest of various objects of interest that you just kind of found about town and about the wheels and everything.
I imagine there's like a hollow in the tree that where I just like keep mini treasures.
Yes. And to anybody else who looks at it, it'll just be, oh, who put all this garbage in this tree? But for you, it is precious, precious things. Do you have any idea, like some examples of some things that might be in there?
I was thinking like a nail. Like there's just this very old nail. Definitely my favorite key. It's like this little ornate key that I'm not sure what it goes to, but it seems really old. What are some other things? He probably took like a lost child's toy, not completely aware of what it was at first, but like he found out, and he's like not sure what to do with it now, so he just keeps a little child's toy, maybe like a couple marbles and a jack. And I think that's his little hoard for now.
So I think something that happened recently with you, because it's sort of a hobby of yours to sort of read various objects that you find that seem like they could be interesting. I think you probably had one of your strongest visions yet. Or rather windows into the past yet, because sometimes it really varies when you do your object reading. Sometimes you kind of like see a vague ghost or hear like the whispers and feel the sensations of something to do with this object. Recently, however, you found a very small bell, and it's made of tin. You know, it's nothing particularly special, but it was somewhat shiny, so you took it up to your hoard and you did your object reading on it, and there you had a vision that showed a fellow Raiden, which is kind of unusual because you're in an area that is very much, the Raiden don't particularly come here aside from you and Tessic, who are kind of appointed to this location. You find that it belonged to a little girl who had a Rai bond with a Rai wolf. A Rai bond being a bond that certain Raiden develop with people over time, that is kind of like a life bond that is very deep and meaningful between the two people involved. And yeah, I think you just saw an example of these two kind of playing around. The wolf was very big and very scary looking, and the girl was very small in comparison and would like ride up on the top of this wolf and like just be run through various fields that you don't recognize and under the kind of like the branches of trees. And you witnessed something that was just very sincere, and it was really kind of just nice to get lost in those moments for a little bit, even if they weren't really connected to you in any way. It was nice to just kind of see this unity between a two-leg and a Raiden as well. Is there any kind of like particular feelings or thoughts you have on that?
Well, Blue's always had he understands what ride bonds are, but he's always not been totally for them. Wouldn't say against them, but pretty much against them. So seeing this probably like helps, and along with the like several months that he spent with all these people, probably like makes him think maybe this isn't so bad. It would be nice to have a two-leg that I could fly around with and enjoy life.
Yeah, the people in your vision certainly seem to be just have that. You can see the connection that they have. Like it's
Mhm.
apparent both kind of visually and spiritually. And you realize that the bell itself used to be on a collar of the Rywolf. It strikes you as a bit strange because Raiden don't really get collared. Like some of them choose to adorn themselves. In fact, many of them do to distinguish themselves from other animals. But a collar is a strange one. And what's more, since you are holding the bell in your talon, it kind of begs the question of, oh, I wonder what happened exactly, why this is here now.
Does it look like tarnished or damaged? Could I tell how old it was?
It looks quite old. It is. You probably can't tell quite how old it is. But you can, like, the clapper is mostly corroded, and if there was kind of like a hoop on top of the bell that has kind of snapped a little bit, it could have just been that it was just dropped one day, and nobody noticed. But yeah, I think it's in these visions that you have that you kind of like witness the sort of wits and cunning of the Rywolf, and maybe that kind of leans into a bit of the justification of why you have quicker reflexes now, of just like, oh, you suddenly get this insight into something that you never really understood because you kind of have now approached it from a different angle.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Like he's a very studious raven, so he would like look at the vision, he'd see all the moving parts and like everything that the wolf was doing, and it makes sense that he would like take a bit after that.
Awesome. And I think when Tessic sees that you get yet another item into your hoard, one night he just kind of like rolls over and looks at you and he says, "Hey boss, you're gonna make the tree fall down one of these days if you keep stuffing it with all this people stuff."
I don't know about that. I mean, these are pretty small items. If anything's gonna make the tree fall down, it's gonna be you,
And you can
Mr.
see
Lazy.
he
And I
sort of
poke
he
him.
leers at the item,
burn!
then at you, and he's just like, "Look, I'm just saying, we're already getting a bit too comfortable for my liking, and now we're surrounding ourselves with all this stuff. I just don't like it being near me. You know?"
Well, I think it's interesting. And it's not as if we're leaving anytime soon. We were given this assignment, and as far as I'm concerned, this is just where we are now. Might as well get comfortable.
I'm gonna go get some plants or mud from the Weald and just slap it around here just to make sure we're not exposing ourselves too badly.
That actually sounds very nice. A little piece of
Yeah.
home.
I'll bring you back a nice juicy worm.
Oh, that sounds amazing. The worms here just aren't the same.
I know, I don't understand it. It's like the humans don't like them being around or something.
It's insane. I don't understand at all, but
It's such good protein.
exactly.
Oh God, stop!
And it's right there.
And they're like juicy, and
Oh,
the feeling.
Jesus,
really?
It's just,
Have you seen what they do? They like plow the ground and like throw seeds down, and they wait for seasons just to grow a tiny little crop. Well, there's worms everywhere.
worms everywhere. So much food to be had just right here from the earth, but no, they ruin it.
They always need more, don't they? So I think, yeah, cool, excellence. That could be, yeah, that's what happens with you, Blue. So let's go over to Micah for now. Micah, what? Let's quickly go over what your leveling up looked like, and then we can dive into how that occurred.
Okay, so are you asking what I leveled up specifically?
Yeah, just the general quick overview of what you got.
Yeah, so warriors are a bit more boring. They gain just a focus, so I chose intelligence military lore. So
Oh,
running around
interesting.
here and probably maybe learning something from what is her name? Callista? Callista's band of just like kind
Ooh, yeah.
of the
That they had some measure of organization. As
yeah, like a
opposed to...
chain of command kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Because your
then
City Watch, like, they have a lot of, you know, village pride, but they are not
they
fighters.
are very, very
They're
disorganized.
not
They're
disciplined.
100% disorganized. Like,
Yeah.
like she saw Callista being like, "Go check the back, make sure the perimeter's safe," and they just went and did it. Whereas if Micah tried to do it, they'd be like, "What perimeter? What's a perimeter?"
What's the perimeter again?
Where's the perimeter? How far does it go? Is it like past the farm, the apple farm, or is it all the way
Oh,
towards
my aunt
forest?
moved to perimeter not too long ago.
Yeah. Yeah, and then like I also increased the primary ability, which is fighting, so that's something that I need to do.
Excellent. Yeah, so what do you think? What kind of scene takes place for Micah, along with kind of taking the time to reflect on everything that she's seen and done? What does she do that actually gets her improving herself?
In fighting, we well, she's actually gonna probably go to upon Rami's recommendation to Weija for help.
Wager?
Weija, yep.
Yes, Wager, the lighthouse operator, ex-pirate. She used to kind of sail the southern seas. Maybe got caught up with some Jarzoni privateers every now and then, but she has since moved to Miniry because she found an orphan on the seas and thought, I can't raise this kid on a boat. I gotta move somewhere boring.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you approach Wager, and what do you do?
I think just sometime at night when the lighthouse is operating, at least she knows Weija would be awake during then. And just kind of sneak around the back. Doesn't want everyone to find out that, hey, she doesn't actually know how to fight.
Right.
And just knock on the door.
Okay. Yeah, you find yourself waiting for quite some time, actually, before anything happens. You kind of like, you timidly knock, and then you maybe knock again a bit harder, and then a bit harder. And eventually, you're at risk of waking, the nearest house, which isn't particularly close. But eventually, you actually roll a perception test.
Okay. Perception anything?
Any sense that you think is applicable to...
I don't know what I guess I'm just gonna do hearing.
Okay, yeah. Your total was
That's
6.
just a 6. I don't hear anything.
You are utterly shocked and surprised when Wager appears directly behind you and taps you on the shoulder.
Oh, Jesus!
And she goes, "Whoa, easy. God, Captain, I'm sure you've heard many things. I promise you it wasn't me. You see, I was just going around examining various things, and, I gotta teach Zoo all these things. You know how it is. Why don't we just say bygones are bygones and we could all end it there? All right, okay. It was a pleasure seeing you. Have an excellent night." She kind of like pushes you off to one side.
Wait! First, what did you do? What happened?
Oh,
I wasn't here for that.
Nothing at all. I'm just fooling with you, Captain.
Okay.
What can I help you with on this fine evening?
Oh, right. I have a paper somewhere here. Oh,
She just snatches it from your hand. And starts reading it. What does it say on the paper?
It says something quite embarrassing.
Go on.
It says something to the akin of, this paper is like super torn up and hardly legible. And it says something along the lines of like, I am the great and awesome Micah, the guard captain, and since I am new to the surface world, I found it beneficial if you would teach me how to fight among those on the surface, since I am from the God, it's really embarrassing. Since I am actually the princess of the Icebind Mountains, in case you're wondering, and in return I can help you out at the lighthouse because I am really strong and want me to lift something for you.
Okay.
Word for word, that is what Rami said to me.
You can see that she is reading this and just stifles a laugh every now and then, looking at it. And it kind of like, as she's kind of going through it, it brings out that kind of just awkward tension of you just standing there while she's reading these words. And then she kind of like brings the paper down and kind of folds it in half, and she says, "Well, great and mighty, Captain. Wow. You're a princess?"
Well, not really. Rami told me about that. I'm more of just kind of a, descendant. heir thing. Second, my brother's. Yeah, not really. No, sorry.
Okay, it sounds like you are. Do you have like family heirlooms?
I mean, we have a couple. They're mostly just books, I guess.
I
Rock
see.
books. I mean, not the paper ones. I don't like paper. It's all flimsy and stuff.
She kind of holds up the paper and says, "Yeah, you really went to town on this one."
Sorry.
And she just says, "Don't apologize, Cap." And she just kind of tucks it into, whatever pocket you have available in front of you. And she kind of leans against the door of her home, and she says, "So you want to learn how to properly fight? Is that right?"
Yeah. Actually, you summed it up really, really well.
Well, how much do you? Well, okay. I am somewhat familiar with the buckling of swashes and whatnot.
Buckling of who? What? Okay.
We'll cover that in the first lesson.
Okay.
Here's the thing. Aren't you the watch captain? I've heard some very interesting rumors about you sort of destroying an ogre with your bare hands. What do you need my help for?
Well, you see, those were more,
Captain, have you been lying to the village?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't. I haven't been lying at all. I've told Rami, who is in charge of these, paper distribution ink things, whatever you call them, to not say any of those things, and she just thinks that I do, and she thinks I can, but I don't know if I can. I never did, but she says that it's only unconfirmed, and if one came, it technically wouldn't be a lie. If I learn how to do it.
She just starts
Eventually.
shaking her head, and she says, "Okay, this is fine. This is absolutely fine." Just she kind of like pulls out a sword that she carries on her belt at all times. It's kind of like a khopesh, sort of a sickle sword, and she just kind of like holds it out to you, and she says, "All right, show me your grip."
On this part.
Grab the sword, yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Let me just take that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. There.
What are you? Okay. She kind of like turns around, breathes in,
She's holding it like a baseball bat.
turns back to you, puts a hand on your shoulder, and she says, "Captain,
Yes?
this is gonna be a long road. I can tell right now.
Okay.
How about we work out some sort of deal? Every night even, I can teach you a few moves.
Okay.
It's primarily how to hold a sword properly, and then you can forgive a few minor misdemeanors that myself or my darling daughter might commit."
Okay.
Excellent! I'm glad we got that sorted out. We
Wait.
will start first thing tomorrow. It was so wonderful seeing you, Captain.
Okay. Do you want this? Do you want this back to here?
And yeah, she's kind of like opening a door and says, "Yeah, make sure it's grip first, not blade first."
Oh, right. Okay. And the
Thank
shiny
you.
bits, the blade.
And she
okay,
very
yeah,
quickly
got it,
kind of like
okay.
puts it away and says, "All right, I'll see you, let's say, on the beach after dark tomorrow."
Sure. Yeah. Okay. That'd be great. Yep.
All right, you take care now.
Okay. Bye. Thank you. Okay.
And she closes the door. And it strikes you as rather interesting that the lighthouse has been doing its thing all evening and she hasn't been there. That's a bit odd, but maybe you're primarily concerned with what you're going to have to do in the future. So I think a few days definitely pass where you and her meet up and start going over some basics. She is very quick to sort of set you up and then immediately kind of knock you down in various ways. Like she tells you the proper kind of way to have your feet, apart and ready and braced for things, how to properly hold something. And she very quickly pulls some dirty tricks by sort of tripping you over, shoving you around, making you eat the sand a lot. Just to kind of exemplify that there might be a rule book for this kind of thing, but it doesn't mean you necessarily have to follow it. And if you do meet somebody who does follow it, then you have an immediate advantage over them because you know what they're going to do.
Ah, gotcha.
Is there anything else you think that happens during those nights? Anything that Micah does, or is she strictly there just to learn?
Strictly there just to learn and well, I know a part of her deal is to ignore any misdemeanors, but the fact that she hasn't learned about any of these misdemeanors
Yes.
makes her kind of keep a little of a watchful eye of just like, what misdemeanor am I looking out for that I have to ignore?
Do you want to do a sort of a perception check that happens kind of like over time to see if you notice her do anything suspicious?
Yeah, let's do that. I'll roll another perception. That is an 11.
Okay, let me roll something here. So you do notice that you've been getting kind of a one or two reports here and there of her adopted daughter, Zuz, has been really just running around the village a lot, occasionally swiping something here and there, always giving it back though, but usually after giving somebody a runaround. And it seems like like mother, like daughter, it seems, because Zuz is sort of taking up the ways of a pirate.
Well, that's really sweet though. Okay, well, as long as they give it back, I think she'll.
Yes. So far, there's been no big problems, but you have kind of had the occasional complaint of, can somebody get this kid under control? It was funny once, and now it's not funny anymore.
Gotcha. Okay. I think in return she'll just send one of her. Are there any people in the guard that's just like particularly slow and not very clever?
I think we determined it with a roll not too long ago that let's see, what was his name? One of your guards was particularly underwhelming. Let me just double check here. No, I forget his name, but yeah, one of your guards was a bit slow on the uptake.
Okay, maybe I'll just have one of the that slower guard, like, have a very ostentatious coin purse filled with, like, sand or something and have him wander around, so maybe she'll bug him rather than other civilians, and that's damage control, honestly.
It quickly turns into him and Azuz having a fierce rivalry. Very Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner kind of relationship where he is completely being, having circles run around him by this little rebellious child. And he's kind of like running around town, out of breath, like, get back here! The captain said that was very important! Ah! And kind of being lured into various traps where, he'll be, covered with paint, or, get a bucket stuck on his foot and stuff like this.
I'm into it. Okay, yep.
And of course his reports are very much like, chased down local ruffian, almost apprehended them, decided to let them go.
With a warning.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Okay, Rami, let's go over what your level up looked like.
Yeah, alright. So I'm better at investigation now, which is great because I promised to cover for Micah and distract so no one paid attention to her trying to flirt with Ruja by getting better gossip.
Wait,
And
flirt?
more.
What? What do you mean flirt?
That's what Rami came out of the conversation with. You might have had a completely different outcome. Rami's mind, she's like, oh yeah, I'm covering so she can flirt with her. Cool.
Because obviously you already know how to fight, so why would you need to learn how to fight?
No, Rami's aware of that too, but this is more fun.
Excellent. Yeah, so you're better investigating. Shall I just go through a quick montage of various things you listen to and sort of apply to the newspaper in your own way?
Yes, let's do some of these.
So here's the thing. When you're in a small village like this, the spiciest news is often very tame.
Right. Right, so the important thing is just hearing the words and changing them in a way that's more interesting.
It's very much, you are becoming a master of the spin, as it were. Much to the chagrin of Jun, your sort of co-editor of the weekly paper. So you hear that the florist and the barber had a breakup. It was a very simple and amicable breakup. Things just weren't working out. That's some big news.
Interesting. So the florist and the barber are breaking up. Let's see. How can I spin this to be the most interesting way possible? Do I know their names?
You do? Yeah.
Okay.
Let me see some. Let me see here. CD and Gora.
CD and Gora.
Yes.
Okay. You know what? I'm probably gonna do an angle based on the word cut since it's a barber. Like cutting them out of their life, but it's like implying that there was a big tense fight where someone actually got hurt. When really when you read the paper, it's just, oh, yeah, they're not together anymore. But it's implying some dramatic standoff where people got hurt.
I love it. Like barber slashes ex-partner. You also hear that there is a sort of kind of under wraps. You uncover quite a juicy rumor here. You hear that there is a surprise party being planned for the local carpenter. It's a very simple affair, nothing fancy, just kind of an anniversary is coming up of them being in the village, and some people are just throwing a little nice appreciation party together.
Like a jerk, I'm not gonna ruin his surprise party before the surprise party happens. That's not even fun gossip. He's just having a party. I mean, like, I'm gonna go to that party and see what happens and see who gets like drunk and talks with each other and come up stories with that.
You definitely you felt like you were onto something really big because people were being very cagey around you, and you're like, okay, I need to know what this secret is. And you dig down deep, and you finally got them to spill the beans, and it was this.
It's a surprise party. Great. I'm gonna spin this in a way that's not a surprise party. I'm just gonna talk about secret meetup in town.
Robed figures gathering at night.
Shady figures gathering at night. Their purpose, no one will say. Wink, wink.
Love it. You discover that this is less the thing that you find out and just an observation that you make. You see that a new scarecrow that's been put up by one of the farmers could potentially look like one of the residents of this place, just like the way sort of the hat lies on their head. You wonder if it could potentially be a scandalous smear of some kind.
Oh yeah, no, I'm talking about that rivalry, that deep cut rivalry that they have between each other. That's
thus far unspoken of as well, which makes it extra spicy.
Right? I'm like talking about what it could be. I'm talking about history of the past. That one time, like in 5th grade, where one of them won the spelling bee and the other one didn't. And is that the cause of all of this tension till now? I think so.
Indeed. And kind of the final sort of nugget of information that you find is that there is a new stranger in town, and they are staying with Val.
Jesus.
Oh no, I have to figure out more about that. I'm gonna go talk to Val.
Please do.
Hey, Val.
Val, what important task are you doing when Rami comes up to interrupt you?
I think she is doing her like weekly rounds where she's going through to check on everyone who has a chronic condition, like she's dropping off their next round of supplies and everything like that. So she's just got this wheelbarrow kind of a thing. I don't know if maybe they have a cart and a donkey, possibly.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. So yeah, she's just out there kind of doing her thing, and Rami just comes running at you like, hey. Okay,
oh, I don't
hello?
just come running. I have a peacock with me, just to clarify.
A horse-sized peacock.
A horse-sized peacock. My new horse, Fred, is with me, yes. And we're here together to stop you and ask you some questions. So, who exactly do you have staying with you? Ooh, a new boyfriend?
Rami, you know that I house people who don't have a place to stay, right?
Oh, I know, but like, that's a really boring way to say it. That's not the fun way to say it. We can spin this 100 different ways.
He's a tourist.
Ooh, interesting. All right, what do you got about him? What do you know about him? Help me out here.
I honestly don't know him that well. I mean, how long has he been here at this point?
A few days.
I mean, I see him at breakfast and at dinner, and other than that, he does his own thing. Sometimes he hangs out with Hannah and like they play Cat's Cradle, and it drives him up the wall, but that's
All right.
about it.
What does he do? What's his career?
You know, we really haven't talked about that much. I think
So this guy's living in your house, and you don't know what he does for a living?
I think he's in academia.
Okay, what does he study?
The arcane?
Alright. We can do a sorcerer bed with that. Interesting.
I don't think that is a good idea. I think that would just stir up trouble. It would give people a lot of anxiety, especially since we're making contact with new people outside of the town and everything like that. I think that would be just a big hornet's nest.
And that's the most fun time to make a hornet's nest. Look, it's really boring. Everyone's bored.
Rami,
you know what they need?
Rami,
you know
someone...
what they need?
What?
What? No, you had something you clearly wanted to say. And I can listen. I know how to listen. Listening is half of my job.
To spread a story about sorcery, people can get hurt.
I mean, if there's not actually sorcery going on, not really.
I mean, if people buy into it too much.
It's okay. If anyone's actually buying into my stories, at this point it's on them for not being smart enough to understand what I'm doing. Like, I've been doing this for a couple of months. Everyone should be aware that this is just a fun little lie. Like, honestly, if people listen to it, it's their fault, not mine.
You both know that there are definitely people who take it very seriously.
Yes. There are people who believe everything that you've written about Micah. I realize
I know, it's funny!
I realize that you are not from Jarzon, so you don't know how far this could go.
Alright, I won't do the sorcerer angle if it'll make you stop lecturing me, okay? But I mean, you gotta give me some kind of angle. Or else it's gonna be the sorcerer angle. So what do you got for me?
Riley's the worst.
This is the worst. Maybe he's here to secretly research something not sorcery related.
It's really boring. No one cares.
Maybe he's working with Rickard on something.
That's super boring. Rickard's the worst. I can't write any stories about him. He's so boring. All he does is stare and have perfect hair.
You know, he's actually quite interesting if you give him a chance. He's very intelligent.
He's extremely intelligent. He's not a good person to make rumors about because he doesn't react to anything. Maybe he's the cause of Rickard's perfect hair.
I honestly think it's just the genes, you know?
No! There's no way that's natural! There is something going on there! There's some secret shampoo, there's some secret magical going on, and I refuse to believe that hair that good is natural.
You can see that the few people who are walking through the streets now are all just looking at this exchange.
So yes, Rickard called him down here for hair tips. Interesting, Val. Very interesting.
Just be careful, okay?
Why?
People believe what you write. I know you think that makes them stupid.
It does, 100%.
It doesn't. It makes you believable and charismatic.
Aw, thanks. That's really sweet of you to say.
It can be good, but you need to be careful. You could get into serious trouble with this.
You know, I've questioned you about many of your guests. Many times, you've never reacted like this before.
The thing with Micah has honestly put me on edge. I'm not gonna lie. She was very upset about everything that you were saying.
We've already solved all that. It's literally good. I don't really fully understand how it got to this point, but she thinks that I'm just practicing writing and that I don't know how to write. So it's worked out for me really well, and everything's okay. I don't even have to do an apology. I was gonna do like a formal declaration and talk about her actual strengths and say a lot of these were lies, but now I don't have to because she's fine, I'm fine, we're fine. I have, everything's working out great. Don't worry about it. I'm a lot more concerned why you're protecting this guy so heavily.
There's a sort of a random villager who comes up to the two of you. It is a woman holding a basket, and she just kind of hands it to you, Remy, and says, "Oh, good morning, Remy. I thought I'd just make you some lovely scones, freshly made, just as an extra thank you for all you do, all your service."
Oh, thanks. That's really sweet.
Of course.
Do I know who is this?
You've encountered this person once before. Her name is Arana, but otherwise, she seems particularly uninteresting to you. You think this is one of the people who actually really appreciate the journalistic integrity that you have.
This is a very confusing thing for Rami because I don't think she expected the newspaper to work this well at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think she expected it to fail almost immediately, and the fact that people are still buying into it, although she's getting increasingly stranger and stranger and more absurd with it, and are coming up and giving her baked goods, there's a little bit of.
Anyway, didn't mean to bother you. I'll be on my way now.
Oh no, thank you. It's a pleasure. I love what I do for this town.
Oh, I know you do. She walks off.
See what I mean?
Yeah, okay, that's not on me that she's this dumb. It's really not.
Also, I'm concerned about you and your headaches. Do you want to talk about that sometime?
Talk about it if you tell me why you're protecting this guy so much.
Because you've been doing a lot of, like, you are getting more and more absurdist.
I don't know if I trust that. Should I trust what you're saying right now?
Do I need to make a deception
I
check?
think you need to make a deception
Okay.
check. I don't think that, like, this is unusual. I'm sure I questioned you about people before and you did not act like this.
Love
Oh
it.
boy.
Player on player rolls.
Oh man.
Here we go.
This is a big fat one to my communication.
Now, you did generate stun points with this. Just one, but if that sways
God,
anything.
that's an 8. Let's see. What can the social stunts get me?
I think it's just a witty remark on the end is the only thing you can get.
What
Yeah.
should I roll a counter to it?
You could roll, like, usually it's willpower. You could also do perception.
Okay. I like willpower. I have good willpower.
Okay.
Let's that out.
Oh boy.
Well, there you go. An 11 versus an 8.
Yeah, you're not telling me something. You're 100% not telling me something about him. What? Do you have a secret crush? Is this why you're careful about it?
You do know, Val, that you are late for many appointments that you kind of
I am
urgently need to get to.
Rami, I am so late. If you want to talk about this later, that's fine, but I have a job that I really need to do.
Okay, alright. Just know that I'm onto you, on whatever it is. And I'll figure it out. Because I am very, apparently good at figuring things out.
Please don't write too many blatant lies. I start walking away.
Already drafting them!
All right. Yeah. So let's go to you, Val. What has your level up looked like?
Well, so she took the self-discipline focus.
Excellent. Gonna
and
make
she took-
fatigue checks easier.
Yeah, she took the next level of the medicine talent. So that means that I can multiply the drama die times 2.
So you're already an
And I-
amazing healer. Now you're just kind of
It's
miraculous.
evil. I'm sorry, Thomas.
No, it's great. It just means I have to find more ways for you all to be put in peril.
Oh boy.
Great.
And then I upped her. Did I do intelligence this time around? Yes, I upped her intelligence by 1.
Awesome. So what does that look like for Val? How does she improve herself? Or if it's just the same stuff she's always doing, what are those things?
How long has it been since our level up? I mean, well,
I think it was
guess,
kind of like in the sort of in the reflections of what happened at Noroth, kind of those couple of days
Mhm.
afterwards. That's kind of when it kicked in.
Okay.
But if you want, you can say it's something you've been practicing at for a long time before all
I
this.
think the self-discipline focus kind of comes into play with the fact that I completely blanked that she has like extreme pyrophobia and there was fire and I totally blanked on that. So I think part of that is like, you know, maybe she's sitting down one day and she realized like, hey, I didn't actually freak out when everything was on fire. Like I let Blue handle it. I didn't get close to it. Like I did a good job of like containing everything. And not having a total meltdown. So I think that she's like, yeah, I can be better at this.
Like I also think that conversation with Rami alone helped up your personal self-discipline.
And then I think the next level of medicine is honestly because, you know, she's practicing. She's doing her job. You know, she's continuing her practice, doing her rounds and seeing people at home, making salves, gathering herbs, all that stuff.
It's fair to say, yeah, that your resources in this place are very limited. So it's kind of probably been a lot of you taking the initiative to kind of experiment and listen to sort of the old wives' tales and figure out what it is that has certain properties in this region, how they can affect people, and how you can use them to sort of help everybody out as well.
Yeah, and I think we talk about her kitchen a lot. Like that's where like she and Hannah kind of hang out in the mornings and the evenings and everything like that, and that's where people come in to get their food and everything. I think I should mention that this is like not a normal looking kitchen. Like there is stuff everywhere.
Right.
Like this is a straight up apothecary. There's stuff hanging from the ceilings. There's, you know, braided herbs and plants like all over the windowsills, and like cabinets chocked full of just like jars and all this stuff.
Love it. Was there any particular scene you wanted to do for that level up, or are you good?
Honestly, I think that scene with Rami was
perfect.
Good.
One thing I forgot to mention, by the way, for Micah, when you're doing one of your late night training sessions on the beach with Wager, you are actually confronted by Lael. And just to remind everybody, Lael is the kind of young assistant to Esmira, who is sort of the kingdom liaison on the council. Lael is very composed and professional. They carry a sword at their side. They kind of have like a warrior's braid. They're sort of ready for action, which never really comes, unfortunately. And they approach you practicing one night, which is a little worrying because you thought this would all be a big secret. So what's your kind of initial reaction to this person sort of discovering what's happening?
I think if she sees her coming, she'd be like, "Oh, hi. We're just learning new. Can I help you? Is everything okay?"
They say to you, kind of with a very sort of stern, hard to read expression on their face. They just kind of look you in the eyes and then look at Wager and back at you again, and they say, "I've seen what you've been doing here the past couple of nights."
You have?
I have.
Oh God, you won't tell anyone, right? I mean, I didn't exactly lie about it. It was all Rami's fault. And okay, okay, sorry.
Do you need me to keep this secret?
Ideally, yes.
Good, because I need you to keep something secret too.
Everyone's just blackmailing her.
You can see Wade just in the background, like, okay.
What exactly?
I'm afraid I need you to agree before I say any more.
I mean, as long as it doesn't, you know, hurt the town or...
It doesn't, I promise you.
Okay, what is it?
And you can see that they go up to sort of their very tight hair braid and it's kind of like yank it off for a second, let out this long hair, and then their expression immediately changes and they're just like, "It's just so annoying being in this boring town where nothing ever happens, and I have to spend every waking minute with Esmira, and it's just nothing but papers and accounting and just making sure relations are okay with everybody, and I hate it. I hate it so much. It is so boring. I'm meant to be part of the Sovereign's finest. That's what I came here to do, to learn. Why did they send me to this hill town?" And they just collapse on their knees, having this massive outburst. It is fair to say, you've never seen Lael express anything more than just like a slightly raised voice. So this is all just a big shock to you, and Wager's just kind of like wide-eyed blinking at this entire display.
that all?
You can see Lael's just like panting heavily and just says, I'm sorry, it's just. I came here to learn how to be the best member of the Sovereign's Finest that I could. I did very well in all my exams at the academy, and I thought that when they sent me here, it was because I had impressed somebody. But apparently, I had done the exact opposite, because they decided to send me to the middle of nowhere, and I don't even get to fight anything. There are no shadow spawn here. There's no Jarzoni spies. There's no Kurdish sorcerers. It's just a really aggressively boring village.
I didn't realize it was that boring. I mean, it seems really scary to me, but maybe your job is way scarier normally.
When I was about 8 years old, I grew up on the south coast of Aldous, and we had a problem there because somebody had uncovered some sort of artifact from the ocean, and everybody was gathering around to see that it had mystical properties. Lo and behold, a bunch of shadow spawn came burrowing out of the ground hunting after this thing. Our entire town was infested with these things, and we all had to flee onto the rooftops, just screaming for help for whoever might be passing by at the time. Do you know what happened?
No, what? Are you okay?
Before we knew it, the Sovereign's Finest were riding into town on these incredible steeds, and they were casting arcana, and they had blades that glimmered in the sunlight, and they were shooting arrows at these terrifying creatures that were ransacking the town, and they cleaned up, and before I knew it, it was all over. And I looked at these people and realized, look at the good they're doing. And ever since that moment, I've decided that that is exactly what I need to do. Now, how can I do something like that if I'm stuck here where there are no problems that ever need to be solved?
Well,
Apart from, mail this, Lael. Make sure this gets there in time, Lael.
well, maybe you could ask for a break and go find these shadow people, fight a little bit, calm down, and then come back?
You know what would really just make me feel just a little bit better? I can handle all this. Esmir is a very nice and wonderful person. It's just the things I'm doing, I'm not learning anything from it. So do you think I could get in on what's happening here?
I don't have any problem, I guess, if you keep this whole lesson thing a secret, and the fact that I actually don't really know how to fight that good.
First of all, that's really discouraging to hear from the City Watch captain, but
Sorry.
that's fine.
Okay.
As long as I can just do something, anything, I can keep it under wraps.
Okay. Is that okay, Weisha, with you?
You can see Wade is just looking at this entire situation, just shaking her head, and she says, I just start charging for this, like...
Therapy!
Any more? Any more out there? Anyone else? No? Okay. This is fine, this is good. This means that, hey, Micah, you get a sparring partner that isn't me now.
Okay, sure.
And it also means I can now sneak up on you.
Wait, I can't do two people at what? What?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's somebody, when you're fighting somebody and their friend shows up, they're just gonna clap along and just cheer for their friend.
That'd be nice.
They're gonna stab you in the back and tear you in half.
Oh, thanks. I guess.
You gotta be prepared.
Great! What
Alright,
do you
Lael,
do? Guess I'm
let's
dead.
Let's see what you've got. And then Lael shows off their sword. They clearly have way more training than you do, Micah. So you're already sort of the remedial part of this class. But yeah, your lessons continue.
This is so stupid.
And I guess my secret cult diversion didn't work out as planned.
I love this. I love it. This is just Fight Club. This is just Fight Club.
So soon enough, the Filarion Feast Day comes up, which you've all been preparing for. It's one of the things that kind of like every month there is a feast day.
Yeah, Yes.
I believe there were a lot of ideas that were thrown out for this day. So I'm wondering if we could quickly get a consensus on what exactly was agreed upon.
Nothing was agreed upon.
Okay, so here's the thing. We didn't agree on anything, but in the background, I have been thinking of things.
Okay.
So I do really like the idea of a fishing competition, but I don't think we should limit it to just fishing because it's winter time, so it's a lot more time for people to do crafts. So I think we should just have general competitions like sewing competitions, knitting competitions, woodcraft competitions, with the idea that like you enter the contest and that money goes to the school we're building. So we have this sort of like, it's not a charity going on because it's supposed to be representing charity, but we also are celebrating the work that people do at wintertime.
Love it. So
Yeah.
we could probably like jump to a very quick council meeting right now of just, I think when everybody hears that, just like, that sounds very reasonable and good from Rami. Huh.
With reasonable things occasionally. Now you haven't heard my color scheme yet, but
Oh no.
There
You
it
just
is.
hear veto come from three voices at once. Cool. Yeah. So it's a day of sort of crafts and competition. So that's fun. Yeah, it is sort of a winter festival, so it is definitely cold out. Everybody is bundled up. There are various decorations set up about town. How do you all go about sort of preparing for this day? Do you help decorating things? Do you prepare some food? Do you kind of check in with people? What does it look like for all of you?
I think that Val is, technically she's the spiritual advisor. So I think that she's,
I like that technically.
technically by choice, not really. She's the de facto person. So I think she is kind of gearing up to sort of do maybe not a sermon, but maybe like run a small service in the morning. And I think after that, she's probably going to like be handing out cider or mulled wine or something like that. But mostly, I think she is just trying to run damage control with Elsa
Yes.
and Rami.
well, that's actually very interesting because I was gonna say that Rami is following Val around trying to get information on Elisar.
Oh my god!
And I think
An
that
unstoppable
leading up
force
to this,
versus an unmovable object.
she is definitely going to try to warn Elsa Kravakarius
Let's
about
play that
this.
real quick. So you're
Oh,
making
boy.
the various things in preparation for the feast in the morning. He hasn't shown up to every breakfast. Like sometimes he doesn't show up at all, but for this one he does. And kind of looks around. And he's like, "Is there a big day happening or something? What's going on here?"
It's Felsar's festival day.
Oh, that's yeah. Okay.
This is my primary deity. Please show some respect.
Shh. Certainly.
But you should know. Are you familiar with who Rami is? I know you haven't really been here long.
There are so many of you mortals around, and you all have
Newspaper.
so many names, no titles. It's very hard to keep track of.
Newspaper lady, lava-like hair.
Newspaper lady, lava like. I mean,
She bit of a gossip.
uh-huh.
Self-confessed. And she is looking for juicy tidbits. Specifically about you.
Ah. Well, I'm certain that you can, of course, quell these desires that she has, because as we both know, if I am to be disturbed or have any juicy gossip spread about me, well, that would work out well for anybody now, will it? So just get her fixated on something else.
That's very hard to do because whenever I try to change the subject, she just keeps thinking that I'm protecting you even more. So it's not working.
Well, you'll have to figure out something soon.
Well, the other options is to spread something about you. So I would like some input here. Because I'm very stressed at the moment.
Say I have a horrible disease, and if anybody comes near me, they'll drop dead.
Actually, that's very good.
While you're kind of
Okay.
contemplating that, you can see that Hannah is kind of at the table with you, and he, in the meantime, is like doing a cat's cradle of absurd complexity. that Hannah just kind of like drops her spoon and goes, "Whoa, how'd you learn to do that?" And he says, "I'm very good at things I put my mind to."
You have
And she's
improved
like,
quite a bit.
Can you show me?" And he says, "Maybe later."
Wait, that's really cute though. What?
Can this like horrible hell demon stop being like adorable?
Yeah, that's like really cute. What? Hold on here.
Anyway, so yeah, he.
Pump the brakes.
So after that, he just kind of like stands up and he says, "Delicious as always. Have fun at your God's festival or whatever this is. I'm gonna explore some of the cliff sides, I think."
Please be careful out there.
He kind of like stops for a second and turns around. And he says, "What?"
It's kind of dangerous. Like, I know you're like a god, like. Shit. I say quietly as I realize that Hannah is still there. You're a person.
Just kind of like she just kind of like looks back and forth, like.
Sorry. You're
What do you mean he's a god? Mom?
He's very arcana-wise. He's very powerful.
She goes, "Whoa, really? Can you teach me some arcana?" And he kind of rolls his eyes a bit and he says, "This is what I'm talking about. Too much happening at once." And he turns to Hannah and he says, "She means I have a god complex. Do you know what that means, child?" And she says, "No, what does that mean?" And he says, "I'll let your mother tell you. I really need to get going. Handle this." And he turns and leaves.
Sure. A god complex is when someone has a very big ego and they think that they're basically a god.
He thinks he's a god?
Yeah, it's a problem.
I mean, he is good at a cat's cradle, but I don't think that makes you a god.
I mean, yes, that's a very good point.
Hannah, don't talk to strange men.
I would just so you know, he's maybe a little unstable. Just yeah. Don't get too buddy with him.
Aw. But he knows arcana.
I know, but not everyone is gonna be a good arcana teacher for you.
She kind of looks at you for a second, and you see sort of a hint of that kind of. Actually, why don't you make an empathy test,
Oh,
which is
boy.
perception.
Aw. Good luck.
Oh, this
Nothing
is
important is on the line. Don't worry.
No, I know. This is our
Please
daughter
don't
we're talking
worry.
about.
14, nice. So you know your daughter well enough that you can see there is that sort of ever so slight hint of the kind of inception of the teen angst coming in of just like,
no.
why do you know what's best for me? But it's very kind of like very downplayed. It is not evolved into what it will become soon.
Soon,
Soon! Wait, Thomas!
I mean, well, you know, teenagers.
What I mean is that, like, maybe his school of arcana isn't compatible with what you want to learn.
But I want to learn everything.
Hannah.
I know. Just like, that's very good. But you just gotta be careful.
You can see that Shauna has come in as well with a big basket of apples that are very much kind of out of season, so they're a bit small, a bit more concentrated in their flavor. And she kind of like brings them up to the table ready to help you make a whole new batch of other things.
Morning, Shauna. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm very excited for the festival. How is everybody doing here? How are you doing, little pumpkin? And she like kind of like pokes at Hannah's face. She's like, eh. And she's like, let me see that tooth. And Hannah goes, eh. And Shauna says, oh, yep, there's definitely something coming in there. It's soon going to be a big, scary adult tooth. Maybe you're going to turn into a terrifying wolf. And the two of them kind of just play a little bit.
I take that moment to take a breather and just be like, that could have gone so much worse. Okay.
So that's how Val's getting ready today. What's everybody else doing?
Train Val. But we'll do someone else's scene and
Yeah, let's do someone else first. So Blue or Micah.
Blue, you want to go? I don't really know.
Sure. I'm not sure exactly what he would do. He's like Micah, not exactly from here, so this will be one of his like first. Well,
You
he's
see,
been here for
they have
about
it every
3 months,
month,
so
so
it's
you've
like
seen
his
few.
yeah. So it's like his third festival, but this is like a new one, and apparently they happen every month for some reason. They
And
always
all
have
do
something to
different
celebrate.
things. It's
Um,
like there's no rhyme or reason to it.
and they just waste so many things doing it. But I think he would want to be as helpful as he could to try and be a part of the community and oversee what they're doing and how they're using their resources.
There's a fairly short man who's like trying to like balance on this fairly rickety looking ladder, and he's trying to like hang up these various colorful banners and things, and then you come by and kind of fluttering and flapping is like, oh hello Blue, would you mind helping me out here?
Sure, of course. Let me just, and I'll take it from my little bird talons,
And he just
and
kind
I'll
of
fly it up,
holds-
and
and he just hammers it in and he goes, oh thank you for that.
yeah, no problem. Happy to help in any way I can. Is there anything else you needed?
Well, I got the entire street to fill out with decorations. Can't be moseying about for too long. You got any big plans for today?
Not quite. I guess if there's any festivities that are suitable for my body, maybe I might take part. But if there's not, and they're all, 2-leg sized, then probably not. I'll just watch.
Well, that's fair. That's fair. What kind of do you Raven types listen to? Well, it's kind of the Miracle Bringers Day. I don't really know how much Raiden really care about
Well-
us, our human gods.
Well, of course we know that they exist, and we appreciate them for what they are, creations of the primordials, who we, recognize and see as beings who created this world for all of us, and that's really who we worship more. So
Makes sense. Less to keep track of that way. Very smart.
exactly, there's only 4 of them, and you have 7, right?
Yep.
Yep, that's a lot. Not
Yep.
too much, but a lot.
It gives everybody enough to sort of a nice spectrum for everybody to suit all needs, really. Anyway, I don't want to keep you too long. As it is the Miracle Bringers Day, may many miracles be brought before you.
Yes, and all the miracles to you. Is that the proper response?
Well, there's no real proper response, but something kind words like that is always appreciated.
Great. Have a lovely miracle day. Miracle Bringers Day. Yes.
You're getting close.
There we go. Close enough. And I'll begin to fly off to the next person in need of some aerial lifting.
Yeah, I think there's somebody who says like they don't necessarily have a job for you right now, but if during one of the dances you could like take their basket of kind of dried petals and just kind of like scatter them throughout the air, that would be very much appreciated.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I can totally do that. Just swing it around a bit. Yeah, I should be fine doing that. I'm not the strongest, so as long as it's not too heavy, it should be fine.
Someone else asks you to like taste the stew that they're making, see what you think of it.
Oh, sure. What's in the stew?
Squash stew. Got some potatoes and carrots in there as well.
Any worms?
Oh, certainly not. No worms.
Oh, of course, right. Human food. Great.
Unless, should I put a worm in here? Would you like a worm?
A worm or two wouldn't hurt, I don't think.
They kind of look to their kid nearby and says, they say, "Oi, Alex, could you get a worm for our friend here?"
A lot of protein in them, right?
They kind of look up and go, "Yeah," and just sort of start running and just like rummaging through the mud. I was gonna roll it to see if this kid unearths a worm. A roll I didn't think I'd be making today. Well, that is an 11. So yeah, sure. It's not the meatiest worm, but they get something. They kind of like hold it out and like plop it onto the spoon that has the stew on it.
Lovely. Okay, and I'll go ahead and try it. Is
I
it
mean,
good?
it's a hearty, delicious, warm stew with extra meat.
Yes. Okay, yes, I like it. It is very good. Yes.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Happy to always, try things that you guys make.
Yes, you're just kind of going around like helping out as much as you can, just observing people and what they're doing. People.
Something I did.
Sorry, go on.
Oh, something I did think I could do is if there was like any structures being built, particularly out of wood, I am very good at that. So if there was like an archway by some eccentric man with money.
Hey, we're getting a bridge, not just an archway.
An Archbridge fusion project.
Mhm.
So that's currently nobody's doing any work right now because it is a day of rest. But yeah, throughout the week you can definitely lend your aid to various projects like that.
But if you wanted to like enter it, we're having like competitions. So if you wanted to do like a woodcraft
That's true.
competition, you could enter.
There's a wood crafting competition.
Yes.
I'll enter that. Is magic allowed? Can I do? Because I can't.
You can see that the person running it, like this rather hirsute lady who kind of like has a big mole on her chin. She kind of like looks at you when you ask, and she says, "Well, no, it was meant to be knife. But why don't we have 2 bouts, one with Arcana and one without?"
Sure. Yeah, that sounds great. I can also use a knife. It just has to be a very small knife.
I wouldn't want you to go hurt. We really encourage safety in the wood carving
I don't know.
competition.
Is there like a knife around? Does she have this? I'm thinking it with my talon. I start waving it around. I don't know.
She goes, "All right, okay. Well, why don't we put the knife down?"
Put the knife down! Put it down!
And she says, "Now I can't guarantee you're gonna get a whole lot of competition, but I'll ask around. I'll see if there's anybody who knows the way of bending wood as you do, and see if you can get anybody. And if not, then we can just put you in anyway, and you can make something nice, and people can appraise it. And, say,
Oh, even if I'm not in the competition, it'd be nice just to be
just to
somewhat
participate.
a part of it.
That's
Yes.
that's what it's all about. I'm glad that you kind of see that side of things.
Rami from the distance. No, it's about winning. I'm the one who came up with it.
Oh, don't listen
She
to
did
her.
come up with it. It was great. Thank you, Rami.
You're welcome, Blue. You're fabulous. You've got this. You can win.
Oh dear, she's so sweet. She's so nice.
The woman goes, "Rami, would you like to enter the competition?"
No.
All right then. Yeah, so you go about your day, you're helping out people where you can. Tessic is also prowling around. He is definitely, there's a lot of dishes being made and getting ready to be served that he is keeping a very close eye on. But for the most part, he
Right.
seems to, he's sticking by you as well, because he's never trustful of these situations where there's a lot of 2 legs around. It makes him a bit antsy.
If I see him eyeing a meal too hard, I'll just say, "Don't worry about the tree. Remember the tree."
He kind of looks at you, goes, yeah, boss. Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. And as soon as you look away, he just kind of goes straight back to see what he is. Cool. Micah, what about you? How is your festival preparation going?
I don't know if she preps. I think since it's a festival that everyone in town cares about, and she doesn't really care about, she'll be like, "I'll just take a guard shift. Doesn't really matter to me. Like, I'll just take it for the festival." So I think she's just making rounds and trying to figure out, like, okay, perimeter. What should the perimeter be?
It's like, I imagine you like grab some pebbles or stones and just start actually.
like actually like making a line and be like, "Here,
Yeah.
oh, no, maybe there, yeah, but then someone could trip and I don't know." So yeah.
Love it. You can see that you are approached by the twins.
Oh god,
Yes, I love them.
I hate children. I'm sorry.
Oh, dear.
If you recall, they are Jura and Koz, respectively. They both have massive frizzy hair that goes at all angles. Jura is kind of more high energy. Koz is a little bit more relaxed. But they both run up to you and they see what you're doing and they're going, "Hi, Micah. Are you making a wall?"
A wall?
Yeah.
Why would we need a wall? Do you think we need a wall?
They kind of look at each other and just go, "Yeah." Then we can put a catapult on top and fling ogres out.
Oh, then I wouldn't have to punch them now, would I?
Have you seen any more ogres since that day?
No, I haven't seen any ogres at all. What? I mean, tell me, how tall should this wall be, do you think?
So big. As big as you can make it. Like 10 feet.
10 feet. 10 feet for and for this long, do you think? For the whole place? Or where do you think that the wall should include? Should include everyone? That would
Well,
be kind of annoying.
You need to have towers between it too, so you need a bunch of towers.
A tower? What? Wait, what's a tower? What does a tower do?
They kind of look at you and say, "Oh, it's a big round thing you stand in, and you put a ballista up there."
A ballista?
And you can see that one of them just like pretends to be a ballista, like, and the other one goes, "Ah!" Just kind of falls on the ground.
Oh, that means bandits and the people won't have to get. That's a great idea. Okay, you're coming with me. We're going back to the guardhouse, and we're gonna figure out how to make a wall and a ballista. Okay?
They look at each other and in harmony just go, "Yay!" And they run with you through the streets. And it's
Oh,
like,
no.
"We're gonna make a wall! We're gonna make a wall!"
This is a bad idea. This is a bad idea. Okay.
So you're in it now. So when you're running to the guardhouse,
This is a bad idea.
What do you do?
What did you? This is just a bad idea. I guess she just starts. She starts getting out. God damn.
Actually, when you arrive at the guardhouse, you can see that the twins both look at you and they say, you know, if you're gonna make a wall, you also need to make a castle as well. So you should make this old guardhouse a big castle.
A castle? But should I? Does that mean I should make the castle first, or should I make the wall first?
You can see that Juror says, "You need the castle first. That's how it's the central part." And while Koas goes, "No, you need the wall to protect the castle first. Otherwise, it could be invaded by evil hobgoblins or something." And they start arguing about, "No castle first, no walls first."
Okay. Let's hold on for a second. Let's just see. She pulls out a map, tears a little bit, and puts it on the ground. Okay. Where's the pen ink thing? Oh, here we go. So here's Miniry, right?
You can see they
And-
kind of like hoist each other up to kind of like look at the table that you're on.
Yeah. Okay. And so here's Miniry, and the wall should go all the way around here. I think maybe it should be bigger because we have farmlands here and here. So we need a plan that they need to come in, otherwise the wall will be too big and too much work.
Jura says, "We need a sea fort as well, a big sea fort in the bay."
A big sea fort. Okay, I could talk to Ozzy about that. Okay, good thinking, guys.
And Koz says, "Can we also get like a big sort of stairway that leads out to sort of like a big library or something?"
A library? I like libraries. We can get a
You can
library.
see Jura kind of looks just like, "Ooh, why do I want a library?"
Well, libraries are great. Then you can learn stuff from it and then be big and strong like me.
Learning's boring. I want a sea fort.
We can build the library and a sea fort, both of them.
Once again, they both go, "Yay!"
It'll take a bit of time, of course, and a lot of stone shapers, but maybe I can do it just bit by bit. That's all I need
They're
to
kind
do.
of like jumping up and down at this point, just like, "We're gonna have a big castle, and we're gonna like be able to play, and we can attack and defend." And they start like sort of like acting out various battles before they get distracted and start running out to go and engage in some of the other activities that are happening that don't include major, extreme construction projects.
Okay.
And you're just like, "Oh, I thought we were doing something," and
I
they're just
thought
gone.
Are we done? Meeting adjourned. Okay, sounds good. Yep, that's it.
Awesome. Excellent. So Rami, over to you.
God.
Yeah, I'm pestering Val.
Oof. Oh, this.
So,
How is this going?
what are you doing first, Val? Where do I find you, I guess?
I think a lot of the activities are happening near the port because Ozzy has really gotten into some things and has set up a lot of activities around there. There's probably like a massive table that's set up outside as well, and some people making food and things.
You
Yeah,
know
so-
what? They're really not half bad at this. The design isn't terrible. The festival looks pretty nice.
Oh no. I'm standing at like this little table where there's, like bowls of various hot drinks and things like that. And she's just ladling them out for people. She's like, have a wonderful day. Happy festival day. It's so good to see you.
Miracle
How are
Burger
you
Kiki,
doing?
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you.
So yes. Rami, hi. How are you doing?
Al, how are you doing? You look like you're having just such a lovely little table over here. How's Hannah?
Person kind of reaches around you, Rami, to get something
I
ladled into
hand
their
it to
bowl.
them. She's doing great. I'm honestly, can I tell you something that you promise you won't publish?
Maybe. What is it?
I'm worried that we're getting to the point where Hannah's gonna start to hate me.
Oh, yeah, that's really boring. Why would I publish that? No one cares.
I just turned to her and I'm just like, well, that's the last time I'm confiding in you. All
But
right.
it's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's not getting on the paper. Don't worry. Why would Hannah hate you?
Take some conviction for that, Rami.
God, that's just so good.
She's just, I mean, don't you remember when you were a teenager? I mean, it was really
I
different.
was so fun as a teenager.
When you say fun, how was that for your parents, though?
They had a time.
Oh no. I grew up in a convent. I don't know how to deal with this.
Hey, you know what? At the end of the day, you really care about Hannah, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's someone who's irreplaceable to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna know that. And she's gonna know that no matter what, that she can confide in you and that you are a safe place, that she doesn't have to earn, and that at the end of the day that you're okay for her. And I think you're doing a really good job raising Hannah. There's an earnesty there that I haven't seen much. And it's honestly something I think you should be proud of.
I give Rami a hug.
Aww.
Aw, wholesome.
Thank you.
Rami,
Tell me about that person.
Wait,
Just
wait,
right in
really?
the ear.
Stop.
Right in the ear.
There's multiple people who live in my house.
Oh, you know which one I mean.
real quick, take another point of conviction, Rami.
Woo.
What do you want to know?
Why are you protecting him? Why won't you talk about him? What is so important about this guy that you're being so weird?
He asked for privacy.
Why? Why did he ask for privacy though?
It's not my place to know.
Why can't I ask him? You asked me not to ask him. Why?
Because he wants privacy.
That's terribly boring! You have to give me more than that!
You can see that the people with empty bowls just like. "Ooh,
I start
somewhere else."
ladling out furiously.
Later!
This is just a concept that you're going to have to get used to. He wants privacy. Some people don't want to be bothered while they are on what is ostensibly their vacation.
Why would anyone come to Miniry for vacation?
It's small, it's out of the way, it's relatively peaceful.
Someone
Maybe-
nearby says, and we know how to have a good time.
Yes.
You don't really, but you're trying and you're getting closer.
I mean, maybe.
That person just drops their head and walks away.
Maybe he's been traveling through Rezia and he wants to stay in one place for some time. I don't know.
Is he traveling through Razia? I
I
don't.
no, I told
You
you
with
he
him!
wants privacy. We talk about what he would like for dinner.
What does he want for dinner?
What did he ask for dinner?
Surprise me, is what he said.
He said to surprise him.
If you don't give me anything, I'm gonna start questioning Hannah and Suna and anyone else I can. And you know what? Kids are kind of fun. You know, they very much emulate the people around them. You said Hannah's having a little splurt of rebelliousness, huh? I wonder exactly what I could teach her.
You can't teach her Arcana, so you would be of little interest to her.
You know, You say that. But I have found that I'm a very fascinating person with much information, and it's not very hard to get an Arcana book.
You are shocked to your bones. Rami went behind you. You just hear, actually, it's quite hard, from Ricard, who has just appeared behind you.
Hair! Your hair is so bouncy! Why doesn't it make sound?
I don't think hair usually makes sound. No.
Oh, my
Hello, Ricard. How are you doing today?
Have you figured out why the clouds are fake yet?
No. That matter has been tabled while I research the artifact that we discovered on our last excursion.
Oh yes, I've been meaning to ask you about that. How is that
Yes.
going?
It's taxing, it's difficult. Such things need to be taken with extreme caution. And it is a constant fight between wanting to know its secrets and wanting to play it safe.
Have you been in contact with Ix at all?
I have contacted Ix, yes. They are uncertain of this thing's origin, but I assured them that I would let them know if anything comes up. Corruption in this area affects us all, after all.
Do you know what
Wait,
it
it
does
could
at
be-
all?
I don't. Not yet. It's just, there is a sort of layer of applications that eludes me thus far.
Have
As
you
I
tried
said.
doing that like item reading thing that Blue does?
Such techniques are to be done in very careful measures with an object like this. However, I believe I am slowly uncovering what it.
Also, it's still with the
Balls.
forest people, right?
No, that's the bow.
Wait, which artifact
We're
is he
talking
We're
about
talking about
the talisman
the
that
talisman we
the
got from the cult.
bandit leader was using at Noroth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, have I heard back from the lady about who was backing them?
Yes, actually, let's play that out
Oh.
real quick. You hear right now during this conversation, you get a little ping in your brain, and you can feel that it is somebody trying to psychically contact you, and you know that it is Callista.
I answer.
Okay, which means you'll kind of have to let her through your
Yeah.
your defenses and give her access to you, which can be risky if you don't entirely trust the person.
It's okay. I'm very curious.
Okay. I'm gonna say that like psychic contact, I imagine it kind of like, just to make it a bit more interesting than just like a telephone call in your brain, I imagine it kind of actually allows you to see sort of a ghostly image of the person who's talking to you, and vice versa. So you're both kind of in the same environment, so it's a bit more dynamic that way. And that way you can kind of like feel their thoughts and emotions a bit easier because you can like read their body language and everything. So you basically see a spectral image of Callista appear, and she seems good, still kind of like dressed with a big quiver and a bow slung on her back. Any scratches or wounds that she got from the battle have very quickly healed. And yeah, she looks to you and she says, "Hi, Rami. How are things?"
Oh, wonderful. Actually, we're having a festival today. It's going wonderful. It's great. Everything's wonderful. I said that word 3 times.
That's fine. It seems like things are pretty good where you are. I don't want to bring you down with bad news, but I do have information for you.
I'm interested. What do you know?
So after you left, there was a lot of business to take care of. We had a lot of prisoners. They had used methods that had allowed them to break into our sanctuary that were unclear to us at the time. We did not think anybody could reach us apart from going through our normal defenses. The leader, his name was Histok.
Stock?
Yeah. He wanted Mordry because apparently the various scraps and collections of bandits who have fortified themselves in the Icebinder Mountains, they're beginning to unify, which is something I've never seen before. They're very much out for themselves, so this is quite a unique situation we find ourselves in. And the reason they're doing this is so they can better defend themselves and potentially go on the offensive against Birdreth. Do you know who that is?
No.
Burdreth is the leader of a place called Withir, close by. Looking at him and his entire group, you won't think they are any better than bandits themselves. They certainly don't seem to carry themselves with much in the way of honor or integrity. Their one redeeming factor is that they seem to have some kind of blood oath hatred against all these bandits in the hills, and they have taken very severe methods to eradicate them all.
So there's a turf war, essentially.
Yeah. Looks like the bandits are responding to Burdreth by grouping up, and now they're becoming stronger for it, and now it means that more violence is going to be spread through this territory. Thought I'd give you the heads up.
Thank you, I appreciate it. That is very unideal. So when they're talking about teaming up with someone, that was just another group in the area? It wasn't someone specific? There wasn't a name?
Well, here's the thing. Histok clearly was dabbling in sorcery in some method.
Yes.
He said that the talisman he carried that you took away, he said that's what allowed him access to our sanctuary. Said it let him walk through stone. I'd never heard of anything like that before.
Walk through stone.
Yeah.
And did he say where he got that?
That's the thing. We were very insistent that he tell us information about this. I came to the conclusion that he was physically incapable of telling me who gave it to him.
Oh.
Because trust me, he was very ready to tell us anything else.
It happens sometimes. Thank you. I appreciate the warning.
Yeah.
We haven't found much about the talisman, but if there's anything of note, I'll let you know.
Please do. If there are more of these, then we're all at risk.
Agreed.
Any defenses we have are going to be useless. So.
All right.
As for the prisoners we had, well, you probably don't care.
No, not really.
She kind of like, you can see that she's sort of leaning against something wherever she is, and in the ghostly image that you see, it's kind of strange because she's just kind of leaning against nothing in midair. But she kind of like sighs for a second before saying goodbye, and she says, you know, I truly, honestly believe that if a person wants to change, they can. It's the founding ideal of Noroth. It's why I came here. It's why I let people in, even though they have done questionable things in their past. You know?
Do you think they deserve it then? That second chance?
It is a choice. I think people forget that really easily. And it can be hard to see that that is a choice before you, especially if nobody's offered it to you before. That you can just simply choose not to make lives of other people miserable, or at least try your best. There are some here who I am convinced are doing this purely out of fear of security. They don't want to get killed. I can understand that.
No one wants to get killed.
Right. But there are some here who, they just have a hatred in them that I really want to show them how to let go of it, and they're making it very difficult. So, we'll see how that goes.
Good luck with that. I think it's admirable, even if I'm not sure of the outcome myself.
Do you agree with me? Do you think people can change?
I don't know. It's something I've been thinking of more and more.
Well,
But, you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. What matters is what people think of you. And as long as you present yourself as someone absolutely fantastic in every way, then people will think that of you. So, really, I think that change is an illusion. You are who you are, and your presentation matters the most.
she kind of looks at you as though she's suddenly talking to a completely different person, and you can see that her sort of like hardened demeanor seems to wash away a little bit, and she just kind of goes, "You don't still have that peacock, do you?"
Oh, I very much do. Fred and I are best friends. Do you know what a scene that creates when I walk around town with Fred? It is the absolute best thing of my life. People have so much more of a reaction now. Because, you know, people have gotten used to me. They've gotten used to what I wear. I haven't found a new way of shocking them. Giant, horse-sized Peacock is 100% a way to start a conversation.
She kind of like looks at you for a second and then just goes, "Bet it poops a lot," and then she cuts off the connection.
You're not wrong.
So while that was happening, Ricard and you, Val, were able to sort of talk while Rami kind of went off to communicate all of this. He kind of like goes up to you and he says, "I've been thinking a lot about the things that have been happening with Noroth. I wonder if these are the allies we truly want."
How do you mean?
Reformed criminals, ex-sorcerers. The reason people use sorcery is because it is sometimes their last option. How much longer before it's their last option again, especially with people coming after them now?
I think that we can't fault them for being in truly desperate situations.
Certainly not, but sorcery is a slippery slope that leads to corruption, and digging yourself out of that pit is notoriously hard.
I don't want to condemn anyone for a crime that they haven't committed yet, though.
Certainly not.
If we can establish contact with Noroth and we can establish a treaty or something, maybe we can make life better for them. Maybe we can make it easier. We can supply food. We can give them supplies. We can establish trade. Who knows what they could give us in return? But we could also get more stability in the region, and maybe that would give them more opportunities to grow and to leave behind the choices that they've made. We can't take that away from them.
What do I want to? It's just, if their enemies are using sorcery, very soon, sorcery becomes the best way to fight against it. But, as always, these are not matters for me to think about.
I think that you do need to think about them, though. You have an interesting perspective on it. You've studied more sorcery than anyone that I know of.
It's probably true, yes. But they taught us something very important in the academy, which was that for all the knowledge that can be beneficial, there is plenty out there that can be detrimental as well. And sometimes it can be hard to see between the two. You, for example, if you had to treat somebody with a broken leg, you would probably do a better job of it if you yourself had experienced a broken leg before, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's something you should seek out.
That's true.
Anyway, I'm rambling. I don't want to ruin anybody's festivities. I'll probably retire for now.
Could you... I don't want to push anything on Hannah, but could you talk to her about learning Arcana? And maybe, I don't know, help her figure out some ground rules of her own. She's very curious and she wants to learn everything, and I want to encourage that, but at the same time, I'm worried. And I'm afraid that if it comes from me, that she's just going to think, oh, this is mom being mom. It doesn't have as much weight.
He sort of leans in close and he says, I have never met a single person who has ever found me interesting until I met Hannah. So I will certainly try to do my best to impart those lessons.
Thank you. Are you
She's a-
coming over for dinner, by the way? You haven't been over in a really long time.
No, I don't think so. It's, I don't know.
Lot
I'll
going
just,
on.
yes. Anyway, enjoy the festival. He sort of starts walking off.
Have a good day. Thank you.
Rami and Val and anybody else who's close by, you all hear the sound of a terrifying roar coming from the port. And you hear people screaming, running for their lives, and you hear again, and you see this big, kind of terrible costume that Ozzy is wearing. That is covered with kind of these fake tentacles, all these random teeth, a couple of barnacles stuck on there. And he's kind of like lumbering around going, and there's a bunch of children who are like scurrying away from him going, very playfully. And a fellow kind of like member of Ozzy's crew comes by and says, "Beware! Beware! The only way to defeat the deadly cuttle squid sword shark is to summon forth Brennier's champion! Quick, use these!" And they kind of like hold out a bunch of buckets to these children that are filled with like these various kind of objects, and the children kind of like pick them up and start throwing them, and Ozzy's like, "You cannot stop me!" And as the little kind of things, the pellets fall to the ground, you see that a very small seal kind of like pulls its way up on the land towards the little pellets and starts eating them up. And Ozzy goes, "Oh no! It's Bradiel's champion here to destroy me, the cuttle squid sword shark. Say it isn't so." And like the little seal is kind of like just adorably sitting there looking at Ozzy like, "Arr, arr," and just kind of like claps a little bit, and he goes, "I have been defeated this day, but I will return." Just collapses on the ground.
That's so cute.
That was very dramatic, and for a second it gave me a brief panic attack.
That was adorable. Kind of a whip snap for me. I just heard about a bandit turf war.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, there's a bandit turf war.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah, there's a bandit turf war. They're having a huge thing going on. We're gonna have an emergency council meeting a little later and discuss all of the things I just heard from our new ally.
Oh.
Well, at this point, you're probably all here, and like various people are undergoing festivity things, so now would be a good time for you all to confer and trade information.
God, I just wanted to have like one day of zero responsibilities. Ugh.
Did you guys hear that weird sound or something? Is everything okay?
It was Ozzy. It was
Ozzy,
Ozzy.
you
It's
did a
all fine.
wonderful performance.
Oh, I see. Maybe I should build that.
Way to
sea
go,
fort.
Oh, dear.
Maybe I should build a sea fort first.
See for it?
Or no, nothing really important for now. Everything okay? Or should I go back in, or should I leave?
No. Actually, it's a really good thing you're here. I've heard some information.
Like what?
I see Blue over. Blue!
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Hey.
I will fly down to them.
So,
Hello.
quick update. There is a bandit turf war going on. From what I
What?
understand, well, if you scream, it's a little bit harder to get the information out, my.
Sorry. Okay. Continue.
So, there's this group who don't have much honor at all, and they're going around and trying to destroy all bandits, and the bandits are like, no, and grouping together to fight back against it. And there's also another layer, because we know sorcery is involved since we had that stone, and we still don't know who provided it. What we currently know is that the bandits are recruiting, which on one hand is great because that means there's a lot of information to be found from various people. You can't recruit quietly.
So that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the little seal has started to make its way over to you.
Oh my goodness! It's so
Have we all been
No.
like given seal snacks or something?
There's just a bunch of like pellets everywhere, and there's food and smells everywhere, so the seal is just enjoying its time.
Adorable.
That's really cute.
I do
love
love
seals.
seals. Seals are amazing.
Mhm.
They're so adorable.
You can see that Ozzy yells over to you, "Hey, be careful of Terror of the Sea! He's very dangerous!"
Didn't he
Very,
kill
very
you?
dangerous.
He does have teeth, just so you guys know.
Arr.
No, what?
And it just kind of like just rolls over and just will probably be staying there for some time. Probably rolls on top of one of your feet. Let's say Micah's.
Oh, ow, okay, bye. Excuse me. Okay, so, what are we going to do about the turf war, or is there something not to do at the moment and we're fine as is?
You are definitely not fine. This is going to be something that affects everyone at some point.
Oh, okay.
I think we need to do more information gathering.
See, I'm with you. The fact is that recruiting in this scale can't be quiet. It wouldn't be very hard to put out a couple feelers. Micah, is there anyone intelligent in your group? In your guard?
Well, well, they're all very nice, and they do their best.
So that's a resounding no.
No, they're
This
no.
sounds like something we'd want to bring up to the council, right?
Oh,
Yes.
100%.
Is that-
Actually, Blue, you would be great at this.
And maybe
You know,
Great at-
especially people don't really notice animals as much. You could definitely collect information a lot faster. Also, if you could contact any of the Raiden in the areas that that's likely to there be bandits and see what they've heard and see if they have heard anything, that would be extremely useful.
And, you know, if this involves a bit of danger, I do know someone who went to an academy of sovereign or of some sort. Lael, she seems a bit bored, so maybe she would like to join.
Lael, they're on the council. They're always following around the boring lady.
Esmira. Do you mean Esmira?
Mira,
I
we've
think
been
the
here for
name
so
is-
long.
I only remember names that matter to me. And my name is the one that matters the most.
Okay, well, let's bring it up with the council then. Okay, alright, I'm just gonna, give me a second, I'll just put these notes away, and, I'll be right back.
I'm gonna peek over her shoulder and see what her notes are.
Her notes are just a pretty okay replica of the town of Miniry, like, in, like, topographic form, and then, like, a wall around, like, but with a wall around it for some reason, and there's, like, a tower, and then at the very bottom there's a note of, like, what is a ballista, what is a catapult? With a star.
Hey, my.
Yes.
You doing some redesigning there?
A little. I was just talking to the twins who, gave me a few suggestions about, setting up a safe perimeter for the town.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I just need to find out what a ballista is and how to
It's a
operate
weapon.
one.
It's a weapon.
Oh, is it?
Blue, for you, alarm bells are ringing right now.
Because they're making big weapons.
It's,
Yeah, concerning.
I think it's nice that you're trying to look into town defense more. Have you considered maybe checking out a book or two on it?
I don't
Something.
like books. Always break them. I'm not allowed in the library, okay?
Is there a particular reason why you're trying to build such, weapons of destruction?
Well, I didn't know they were weapons of destruction.
She didn't even know what it was in her defense.
Who told
okay.
you about those?
The twins.
Yeah, they're over
Kids.
there somewhere.
Oh.
I don't know.
It also
Dear
says you're gonna
children.
make a giant castle, which I am down for. That right here. Can it be pink?
A pink? Or, you know what? I'll add it to my notes. And maybe that'll be beneficial somehow. Pink. Okay.
I think pink is going to make it a lot more fun.
Okay.
Hey,
Fun.
Rami, did Callisto mention any names?
Yes. It was a name that I would have remembered as Rami. So-
Their leader was Histok, and that was the only name you got.
I also got the name of the guy who was doing the other bandit one, who's also on the character.
Oh, Burdrith, yes.
Burgess, yes. His stock was the one who they captured. I'm pretty sure he's very dead at this point. And, Burdrith is the one who's doing the rival bandit thing. Apparently he's dangerous. He has a bunch of smelly people with him doing smelly bandit things, rival bandit things.
Heard of him? Yes, he's deterrent. So she didn't mention anyone of the name Varden Lottie, did she?
No.
Okay.
Why would she? Who is that?
He's a small-time bandit leader in the area that I've had some history with. He doesn't.
What kind of history, Val?
You have bandit history, Val?
I kicked him out of
What
the
is-
town because he was peddling snake oil.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
That's far better than what you
Alright.
kind of made it sound like, but okay. Cool.
I
He's
mean,
made it-
I can bring it up in a future and ask her, but what?
Yeah.
What is he like?
He was the sleaziest man that I have ever met.
Huh.
Honestly, he
delightful.
told someone to put. I don't even know what it was. It was some weird mush that he was selling on their arm, and honestly, it took forever to get the gangrene to stop.
Did they actually
Ugh.
put it on there?
Yes!
Oh God.
It was a horrible time for the village. So if he's involved, I would prefer him to stay very far away because he has made it something of his personal life's goal to annoy me forever. Because he knows that I won't do anything to him. So, yes.
The seal flops over onto your other foot, Micah, and Ozzy, now outside of his costume, comes over and comes to retrieve his pet seal.
Oh, hello.
Oh, cute.
Bye, Ozzy. Oh,
Aw.
that's a nice costume. Okay, bye now.
He kind of like picks up the seal and says, "You gotta watch out for the terror of the sea." He kind of
Oh,
holds
of
up this
course.
little snoozing
Oh,
seal.
oh, even looking at it right now. Oof.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
All right, Tots, let's go. And as he
Tots?
turns around to go, yes. As the terror of the sea. As he turns around, he grabs your arm, Micah, and says, "All right, we got the rock throwing competition. Let's go."
Oh, did
Oh,
you make?
no.
Are you gonna make
Oh.
Ricard join too?
Wait,
like we
the rock
talked.
throwing. I completely forgot. Wait, are we still doing this? Okay.
Of course, we're still doing this.
Now. All right.
And he brings you over to like one of the piers with there's various large rocks set up everywhere. A lot of the village's strongest people, which it's a decent mix of people, have shown up to prove their strength or just have a little bit of fun. And yeah, the objective is basically huck a rock as far as you can into the water. So if you want to, Micah, you can roll might to see how well you do.
I mean, sure, but okay.
I was just like, all right, I've been getting ready for this.
Okay. Well, okay. Hucks a rock into the ocean with a 19.
Yeah.
Holy my!
I just rolled for Ozzy and I rolled triple sixes.
Oh my god.
Damn.
But he doesn't have as much strength as you do.
Oh, like the modifiers?
Yeah, so I think that's a tie. So you both like I imagine like it's kind of like an elimination thing of just like if you can't throw it as far as the other person then you're out and so on and so on and so on. So it gets down to you two and then it's just like, well, it's been a pleasure, but we know your ogre hunting prowess, so I'm just glad to have gotten this far.
Yeah, well, the thing about the ogre is, it's not really a thing.
And then you hear the person yell, "Throw!" And you both just shoo! And everybody looks as these two meteorites just get thrown into the bay. And they fly and fly and fly and fly and fly. And they go further than any stone has been thrown today. And swish into the water at very similar distances. And everybody's like,
Uh-oh.
who won?
I'm not sure. Ozzy, I think maybe you've won there?
No, I'm pretty sure the way the water was... I think
Tiebreaker.
Another round.
and you look down to see that there are no stones left. And Ozzy's like, huh, how do we do this?
Arm wrestling.
Oh wow, that's good. Arm wrestling.
You start a chant that the entire village starts joining in with arm wrestling, arm wrestling.
Well,
You see the twins are on the backs of their parents like, arm wrestling! Micah, do you do an arm wrestling?
Yeah, I guess. But at the same time,
Like,
she's trying to
out
make
of nowhere,
conversation.
someone pulls up a barrel and two like crates for you to both sit on.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you very much. Oh, Ozzy, while we're, you know, as she's like putting up her arm, just like,
Yes,
while
go
we're,
ahead.
here, we may actually have a council meeting in a few minutes, to
Okay, yeah,
discuss
sure. Is
something.
there an
And,
emergency come up?
3, 2, 1!
Ah! So we'll call this best out of 3.
Okay,
So
3 mites or 3 what?
mites, yeah.
Okay,
So you roll. That's
I
15.
rolled a
That's very good.
15, a 20,
With
and a
my
17.
stuff. Oh wow.
He got a 16, so that's 1 point to him,
Okay,
and then a 14.
I got a 20 on the second one.
Okay, you definitely won. That's gonna break his arm. And then, damn, Ozzy. And then an 18.
I rolled a 17! Oh, Ozzy won!
Oh my god.
You are both
I
stuck
really
here for a very long time, and everybody's like cheering and going, ah! And then eventually just the cheers die out a little bit. It's just
I'm
like,
just sitting here like, what?
And yeah, so the apparently there's a turf bandit war and things
sounds
like
really bad.
that. Yeah, apparently I
Gonna
don't know
have
why we're doing this and
Do something about that.
Just-
Well, you can give up
yeah,
any time
okay,
if you want.
Come back.
And as he goes, ah! Now I can punch ogres. Everybody cheers. And he receives a prize, which is like a delicious cake and like a big sash. You get the runner-up prize, Micah, which is like it's sort of a very nice orchid that you're given. That is very sort of delicate. It's got kind of a snowdrop color to it. You were told that it is once springtime comes around, it will kind of bloom a little bit more, and that you need to take very sort of careful care of it to keep it alive.
Okay, thanks. I guess. And she's holding it like she's not like touching it at all. Just like okay, just on the hand. Just yep. Okay.
Just, what do I do with this?
Okay, thanks.
Of course,
Yay!
of course, there are other competitions. Blue, did you want to still go forward with the?
The wood carving?
shaping?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Absolutely, cool.
I'll
Yeah, so
try it.
you're surrounded by people. Primarily, I think the two big people to watch out for are the lumberjacks.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, the lumberjacks!
Dun, dun, dun.
The
Did they let me
lumberjacks!
use a knife?
So for people who don't know, the lumberjacks have been kind of not in canon, but kind of in canon for a while as the grumpy but adorable lumberjacks.
So there are 3 lumberjacks in total. There's Seng, there's Ovok, and there's Tao. And Tao is sort of known as the grumpy of the trio.
Grumpy one.
And they are all there, getting ready to carve up a storm to really impress everybody with their knife skills. So, Blue, did you want to do this with a knife or with your arcana?
Fair is fair. I'm gonna use a knife. It's okay. I just
Okay.
hold it in my
So-
I switch between my beak and my talon, whichever one's more comfortable at the time.
Sure. So it's fair to say that you have very good dexterity. However, I am going to say that a knife is not necessarily the tool that a bird is meant to use in terms of ease of use, especially on a block of wood. So I will let you roll. However, it's only going to be 1 die for
Okay.
this test.
Oh boy.
But you can add your dexterity to it.
You got this, Blue.
So I'm gonna roll for
So
lumberjacks.
We'll just roll a d6.
Yeah, a d6 plus your dexterity. Oh, damn. Okay, so that's what,
total 7.
7 in total?
Mhm.
So you try your best. You're kind of like scraping up against the wood, realizing this isn't working. You kind of grab it, you grab the knife with one talon and start doing stuff. You realize that it's not really the dexterity that matters the most, but it's strength that you lack to actually make an impact in this thing. Do you kind of like give up and use your arcana, or do you see it through to the end with this knife?
I'm not gonna just start cheating out of nowhere, and
Mhm.
I will show the noble Raiden wield pride that I have to continue and press on.
So here's 2 important questions for you. What
Mhm.
were you trying to make, and what did you actually make?
I tried to go for something simple, so like a tree, but like a very like not like with
Like a
many
2D
branches, but
tree?
just like a 2D tree,
Okay.
or like a very rounded out tree, like a piece of broccoli.
Yeah, sure. I think what you end up with is more of like a very scraped piece of wood, unfortunately. But at the very least, you try to make your scrapes look very intentional and maybe like a bit sort of fancy and interesting for anybody watching. So you've made a decently nice etching, if nothing else. The lumberjacks kind of bust out like one has made a sort of a very sort of simple mountainscape that looks fairly interesting. One has sort of made this a giant peacock in honor of Rami's new pet, and another one has made like a sort of a functional water wheel that somehow like had like moving parts that have been fitted together and everything. Sadly, you do not win, Blue, but
That's fair.
you certainly get a pat on the back, as it were. If you would like to, people would be very interested to see your plant shaping. If you would like to pull out something a little more interesting.
Yeah, of course. I just need a block of wood, preferably a bigger one, like a big one.
You can see one of the lumberjacks just like slams into a piece of wood and just like chops you a bit off immediately.
Okay.
Kind of
And
scary.
I'm I'm gonna form the wood. Yeah, I'll use my wood shaping, wood crafting ability so that I can make a little mini replica of the Miniry village.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah. And I imagine. Oh, so I think you need to roll for your wood shaping, right?
Yeah, there's a wood carving roll. Here we go.
Go for it. 17 with 3 stun
Woo!
points.
Wow, great!
That's extremely
So-
impressive.
And my Arcana talent gives me 4 stunt points when I get well, not 4 stunt points. It gives me 1 when I get stunt points, so I have 4, and
Okay.
I'll use it so that I can do something with a
Do
little
something
flair.
extra impressive. You can see like the entire town is gathering around and like watching, just like oh, and the lumberjack's just like, oh, this is just cheating, is it? Whoa, look at what he's doing. Never before have I seen something done with wood.
So I'll use powerful channeling, and it increases my. I'll use all 4 points to increase it by 4, so I get a total of 21.
Ooh,
my
So
God.
with a 21, you can make something. This is very interesting. You can make something that is nigh impossible according to the difficulty chart. So
It moves. It's a moving.
I just I'm trying to think. I think it moves in a way that's very. It's not like
Like a clock,
typical-
kind of?
Yeah, I think it's not like typical machinery with like gears and anything. I think it's actually so intricate and complex that you've made it a series of like tethers and vines and like interconnected threads of wood that kind of contract with each other that allow them to kind of like create like little people that walk around. And like,
and the rising moon and sun.
sure,
There's some.
you gotta tell me
there's
what
a
I can't
mobile
argue with
cloud.
you. Yep, there's like a bird flying around. You can see Tessic is down there as well. It is very impressive.
I've been giving you plastic beads, and you can make this? I feel like I've been insulting you, Blue.
And I think
Oh,
Esmira
no, this-
comes up
I
and
love
she
your
says,
beads.
"Blue, this is truly incredible. This is absolutely amazing. We should do something with this. We should put this somewhere to sort of crown Miniry."
I'm not sure. I mean, we have an archway bridge coming. I forgot to add the archway bridge. Oh no.
Esmira's just like,
The
"That's okay.
inaccuracy."
That's fine. No, that's really fine. We could put this on display in the council chambers for us forever."
Yes!
Yeah, that would be great. I would love to do that.
Excellent. Well, the entire town cheers and
Thank-
is very, very impressed. The rest of you kind of like take the time during the festival. There's various other competitions that are going on, dances and food being consumed. You all take your fill, and then of course go off to discuss new revelations with the rest of the Miniry Council. I think that's where we're going to take a quick break, give everybody a chance to stretch their legs a little bit, drink some water, wash your hands. Cindy, we good for a break for a bit?
Oh.
Okay. we're back.
Woo, okay.
Ooh,
Quick break.
here
All
we
right.
go.
So this
Yes.
festival is in full swing. You've probably conferred and agreed that like everybody can at least enjoy the day a little bit before you inform the council of all the dark tidings that you'll bring forward. So for the rest of the day, as it kind of like turns to the evening, is there anything anybody is doing? I know that let's see. Mikey, you're actually approached by Sarik, who is the head kind of engineer on the tunnel project that's happening just outside of Miniry, trying to connect Rosea and Aldous via the land. He kind of comes over to you, he's got a big drink in his hand. He's clearly had a few drinks at this point, and he's just like, Micah, my friend, how is it going?
Oh, Sarik, it's been a while. Everything been going okay? Or
No.
oh,
Nope.
oh, okay.
We ran into some metal ore, so now the entire process has stopped. We have to get new people in, new labor to get all of that out of the way before any of our shapers can start doing stuff again. So I'm just sitting here on my ass once again.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that. I guess you have to be a bit bored or something.
There's always something that comes up. This is the most problematic project I've ever worked on. But it's going fine otherwise.
Well, the thing with metal ore is that you can always kind of shape around it and soften everything around it, and then you can just pull out the ore itself unless the vein is too big. The vein is too big. She should just give a sympathetic just glance of just like, I've been there, dude.
he just puts a hand on your arm and just says, it's really nice that somebody is here to appreciate the kind of situation we're in. Don't have to explain things, it's just, you get it.
I understand. I sympathize you, friend.
I appreciate it. How are you doing?
Good. I was just trying to figure out, I was just about to ask, there's someone that's kind of been really helpful, and I was trying to figure out how to exactly to ask, her to, maybe have a dance of some sort.
He immediately sobers up a bit. He's like, Micah. Are we trying
sweet.
to get something started over here?
Nothing started, or just to say that,
Okay, step one, we need some drinks. Hey, get some more drinks over here!
Oh, wait, oh, okay.
Like immediately
thanks.
two appear, he's like, these are both for you. Drink up.
Wait, both of them?
Yep.
Now?
It's important that you do it quickly.
Oh, okay.
Drink.
Okay, yeah, okay, yep,
Why don't you roll a Constitution test as well?
okay.
This person's a worse influence than I am.
Do you want there's actually specifically Constitution drinking. Do
Drinking.
you want that?
Do you have drinking?
I don't, but
Okay,
like,
but yeah, roll.
okay, the Constitution.
Yeah.
Straight Constitution.
Oh,
That's
God.
13.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, so you certainly feel like a bit of effect from the drinks, and you feel a bit more relaxed. Actually, you feel a bit warmer. You're with Sarik, who is a good friend of yours, and suddenly it's just like it's much easier to talk. And he's like, "Okay, how's that? Has that a bit better? Can we
Yeah.
talk without so many ums and ahs now?"
Bit nice. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Here's what you do. Whenever I see somebody I want to dance with, I stroll up to them. I say, "You, dance with me." And then I grab their hand, and away we go. Come, I'll show you right now. And he kind of like looks around, and he says, "That guy looks cute." And he just kind of walks over to them, and he sort of like, with a bit of a drunken swagger, says, "Hey, you, dance with me." And grabs the hand, and the guy, I'm gonna see how the guy responds. That's a triple one, my friends. This guy, unknown to Sarik, this guy just very recently had his boyfriend stolen by Sarik.
Oh no!
So he just immediately sees Sarik and pops him in the face, and Sarik is just floored. And he goes, "Oh, usually it's later in the night when I see stars." Oh. And then he comes back to you and says, "Yeah, just like that."
Well, I don't want to be punched in the face. you
Yes,
see.
I have to admit that doesn't usually happen. I
Okay.
think if it's your first time, it'll go better. Ugh.
I don't think I trust you very much now.
Okay, well, why don't we get you another drink and we can see how you feel then?
I don't need any more drinks.
Look, the most important thing is to have confidence, yes? Just be yourself, but also be proud of who you are. That is the sexiest thing.
Okay. I think.
Oh, we need another drink. Just one more.
Okay.
He grabs a feeling what appears in his head. He's like, drink.
Okay, thanks. Okay, yeah, alright. Drink, yeah.
God.
Best of luck, my friend. You've got this. Believe in
Okay.
yourself.
Okay.
And he says, I'm rooting for you.
Okay. Thanks.
So while Micah goes off to
Get drunk.
to go dancing, Rami, I think you're just kind of doing your rounds of the festival, and you see that Feldo is actually he set up this big canvas that he is painting on. It looks like he's trying to capture kind of the passions of the day by painting kind of the festival in full swing. And he looks at you and says, Rami, my friend, what do you think?
Hello. Oh, that's gorgeous. I love the color choices.
I'm going for something a bit abstract. You know, you can go for the
Yes,
sort of
yes.
contemporary things how they're meant to be, but it gets very boring very
Oh,
quickly.
definitely. It doesn't always have to look like something. Sometimes you just want a splash of inspiration, something that makes you feel without exactly knowing why. And I'm getting exactly that from this.
Exactly. You have all these seals walking around. You know what these seals make me feel? They make me feel this. And he just splashes some paint on it. It's like, there, those are seals.
Yes, I see. That's very, very
I
impressive.
seal.
I don't
God.
make puns.
That was just a drunk Micah who's new. Like, I seal. Drunk Micah turns into a pun lord. Yeah, and Feldo is like, I don't really do painting, you know, for anybody. It's very much just a hobby of mine. This is not my forte. I like to sculpt with my hands, the real thing. Well, it's my magic, but it's the same thing.
Did you enter any of the contests today?
No, I do not, I am quite a skilled person. I do not want to make anybody look bad by comparison. Let everybody have their fun.
That's extraordinarily kind of you.
Oh, yes.
I'm
well,
sure
that is
you
me.
would have won everything.
Well, I don't know about everything. Those rocks looked very heavy.
All right, I'll let you off on that one. You would have run everything except the rock throwing contest, which, oh god, they were really big rocks.
Yes, they were. I am a little bit intimidated by how easily they were thrown.
I am also a little intimidated by that. You know what? I think she probably could actually punch an ogre if one came around. Like, I'm pretty sure.
Listen, we could just we could make a statue to commemorate such a deed, and then before we know it, it doesn't matter if it happened or not. The statue.
Love that! Can we please make a statue?
Oh, dear sweet Rami, there are many statues I would love to make one day. It will have to go on the list. And he kind of looks at his painting and he goes, you know what? I think this is done. But
you know,
of course,
actually, I think it needs a little bit right over here on that corner. Just like a
he
drop more
kind of
color there.
takes your finger and just kind of like smears a color into it. And he says, "Excellent, it is perfect." And he kind of like immediately signs his name, Feldo Ijati, and he says, "You know what this is? This is Ijati. You know what I mean?
Oh.
It's like I want to make Miniry Ijati. The clothes I wear, they are very Ijati. The clothes you wear, very Ijati.
Yes.
This painting, very
Aw.
Ijati."
Miniry would just be. Oh, yes! And we could take Miniry from this drab, boring, dull little thing, and we could turn
Make it
into
Ijati.
Ijati. I am here for it. You know what? Can I quote you on that?
I give you full permission.
Thank you.
Now, there is much more merriment to be found, and need some time away from this just to let all
Of
the other
course.
sensations sink into me. A pleasure as always, Rami. Mwah.
Of course. Oh, mwah, darling, mwah. And then I just leave and stalk Val some more.
Okay. So while you're stalking Val, Micah, you go over to what are you doing?
Plucking
3
up
drinks
courage. Yeah, this is definitely the 4th drink in.
You're like just a bit more confidence. Go on.
Well, yeah.
Oh,
Go and roll
no.
another Constitution roll. And I'm gonna say you get a penalty on this one as well.
That's a 15. What penalty would you?
I'm gonna say -5, so about a 10.
A 10. Okay.
Yeah. So you're drunk, like
Yeah.
you're straight up drunk at this point.
Straight up drunk, but she does feel kind of nice.
Yeah.
And looking like an idiot probably.
Here's
but
a question: how much does Micah drink in general, or has drunk in the past?
not much. You can't. Well, actually,
Because you're
'Cause-
certainly made of hardy stuff, but
Yeah, but I don't think they have a lot of things to ferment in the.
like mushroom.
Is there a way to make
Wine.
alcohol out of mushrooms?
I
Because
don't
I can
know,
definitely see them
probably
just
not.
drink a
Um.
lot of alcoholic mushrooms. If not, then I don't think so. So probably not much, but I think she's definitely like being the guard captain though. I'm pretty sure they're like, Cap, come for a drink. You're not allowed to say no.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, but I'm literally on duty. Okay.
Yeah. So a little bit of more recent practice, not before though.
Excellent.
So yeah, she'll just swagger up to Asia, and in a drunken swagger.
Wager, by the way, is killing it on the dance floor. She has some very interesting moves that clearly come from her time with a bunch of rowdy pirates. Yeah, and she's having a great time. What do you do?
I think take a deep breath, and then whoever she's dancing with, just fuck them. You dance with me, please now.
She turns
Yeah.
around and goes, "Why don't you make a persuasion roll with your
Don't make me
communication?"
do this.
No, I think I will.
I'm
give
already
you
really
a-
embarrassed.
I'll give you a -2 on this.
Thanks, Thomas. I appreciate the -2. Somehow I rolled a 9, -2,
three
which
stun
is 7,
points.
but 3 stun points.
So go ahead and reuse those stun points because that could drastically
I'm
change how the
absolutely using
situation
those stun
goes.
points. Let me see what stun points I can use.
Oh no.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Oh god.
Yeah, in this time, like Wager is just kind of like drinking in what is happening here. Just like she's probably never seen you like this.
Yeah. How about just a stun silence, and then I'll just use the opportunity to just run with it.
Okay. So stun silence. What does that do exactly? It gives you a chance
You're so
to.
impressive. Oh god. That all those witnesses your display are able to speak for at least a full
Impressive.
round. Outside of combats, this lasts long enough for your character to begin doing something else, and the something else is just
So we'll say
dragging
that
her.
basically, not only Wager, but the people around, like you make a bit of a scene, kind of.
oh god, no,
Um,
no!
And everybody kind of looks at you for a second. You use the opportunity to basically just grab Wager
Stop! I'm
as-
cringing.
as Sarikam informed you, and you just go. You just don't care about anything. You just go.
Mercy.
And she
Mercy.
very quickly follows form with you. Now here's the point where we roll a performance roll
I don't know performance.
with a -2 penalty.
Oh no!
Let me just double check if there's any
Oh.
particularly good dancing skills here.
Oh,
R.I.P.
God.
Micah.
There's
Oh,
dexterity,
no.
acrobatics. Is there? Yeah, I think acrobatics would be so dexterity.
There's a performance like right under communication.
I think that's more of like acting.
Oh, okay, so I
This
just
is
rolled-
definitely using your dexterity
I
more
guess
than.
if you were trained in dance, it would be more performance, maybe.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. So just flat dexterity.
Yeah.
Cool. I roll a
Fingers
12 -2 is 10 with
Oh,
2
Yeah,
stun
why don't
points.
you redo it? Why don't
With-
you redo it? Okay, you have
You
some
can
points?
spend conviction if you would like, or
I don't
use
have
your
any.
stunt points.
I don't
So you
have
have 2 stunt points. I
Yeah.
will also take this moment to say you can use any kind of stunt points if you want to do a combat stunt of like throwing her extra far or into the air or something.
Okay, I'll also look at my combat stun points then.
You could absolutely do that.
Oh,
Wait,
my
there's just God damn it, guys.
You're
There's-
all
there's
watching
knock
this, by the
prone.
way.
we're all just like,
You want to knock
Hmm.
Wager prone?
No, I don't. But I'm just saying that there is.
You know, there's some information that could be interesting to use, like advantage positioning. You could maybe manipulate that. The
The
right tool.
social stunt points.
Maybe you find some like good dancing moments, like you give her the flower with the right tools. You find or improvise a piece of equipment you need to attempt an action more effectively,
This is-
contracting any situational penalties for
You
not.
also don't have to spend your stunts on anything if you don't want to.
I just don't know what to do exactly.
Okay. So you start dancing with Wager. You definitely take the lead, and that's the point where you realize you have no idea how to dance. So you're
No.
kind of just like swaying and stepping around and losing balance a little bit, and sort of like windmilling your arms a bit to keep balance. Wager sort of looks at this and she just starts laughing, barreling over laughing, and you obviously feel a bit embarrassed. But then she just kind of like grabs you while laughing and just kind of like starts throwing you around, and you both had the most just drunken, ridiculous dance. It is a spectacle to behold. And Rami, you know, if anybody else is doing this, you would make sure that tomorrow the paper said amazing things. But this is dear sweet Micah you're talking about.
No, she's making it really difficult to cover this up.
I have to be
difficult.
I have to be clear. Wager is not. She has not stopped laughing. And probably at this point you've got the drunk giggles as well, so you're both just laughing your asses off, just spinning around, falling over every now and then, standing back up, brushing yourselves off, just having a crazy time. And it is not. It is very amusing to look at for everybody else.
God, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't have told her to not stop coming from me to advice. I would have.
Yeah, and I guess that's it. And like at some point they stop spinning, and Mike's
Yeah.
just too dizzy to stand up. And just like, oh, Wager, before you go, and just like takes out the flower from her pocket or something in a compartment. It's all like it's slightly squished and sad. And it's like
it's spin in a centrifuge.
angular momentum has not been kind on it, let me tell you. And
Hey,
she
just hold it
like just drunkenly holds it up. I can't take care of nice things, so but you're nice, so maybe you can take care of it.
Roll our first ever romance roll.
What? That shouldn't be allowed. Oh, okay.
Communication.
Oh God, that's.
This is exciting.
Oh boy. Oh
That
boy, oh
should-
boy, oh
that's
boy.
a sorry
this.
excuse for romance. That's a 10.
Oh boy. You know what? 10 is okay.
It's
Nov
not.
leans
That's like
down to you
above average,
as
right?
you're on the floor, like holding up this sad flower. And she kind of like reaches down to you and she says, you know, good at taking care of nice things. Took care of me pretty well. And she winks at you and takes the flower.
Aw.
What?
And we just cut to the rest of you just staring at this spectacle from the sideline.
What?
That worked. You
Well,
know
you
what?
can hear Tessic say, these two legs and their rituals I will never understand.
Their courting rituals are extremely strange. Like the dancing I kind of get, but it was like weird in a way.
So much swaying, so much falling over.
Exactly.
Hey
Bit
Val, do you
more
have anything for
backwards.
hangovers? I feel like
Absolutely,
Okay.
yes.
Can you pull some aside for my?
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Is there anything else the rest of you doing as the evening comes to a close, or are you calling it a night there?
We have the meeting.
Yeah, I just meant kind of before that.
Yeah,
Oh, Micah completely forgot about the meeting. My bad.
I
You can postpone it
will-
a day.
So I said I was gonna treat him like any other guest that I would have had in my house. So I put together a little like to-go plate of the snacks
Aw.
and things. And the entire time I'm just thinking like, he's the exarch of pride. Okay. I'm putting cupcakes in a tin for him. It's not normal, but I have to act like it's normal.
Fantastic.
I'm there while you're freaking out because I've been stalking you.
Possibly. I don't know. This is like her internal monologue.
hopefully you're
like,
not
on
saying
the
that out
outside,
loud.
she's
No,
just
no,
kind
but like, yeah. Can I see how tense you are at this point? That's my question.
I'm gonna make a self-discipline check.
So many rolls. Oh, love it.
Let's see. That is
Oh,
a
that's really
15
good.
With
Yeah, no, I
Two
do it
stun.
fine.
Yeah. Okay.
fine.
We're doing fine. We're doing fine.
You ate
Everything-
so much food. Why?
it's for later.
You can see that Izamira comes over and she says, "Did you still the discussion you needed to have? Is that still going on?"
I look over at Micah. How bad is she?
What's Micah look like right now? As all heads turn that way.
I think she's sitting on the ground, not like lying on the ground at this point at least. But she is
So
kind of
just
looking
dancing
up.
around.
Yeah, but she is kind of like looking up the stars, slightly drunk, and be like, "Huh, yeah, I guess Sarik does have something going on there with the stars."
Oh,
Yeah, we're waiting till tomorrow.
that seems very reasonable.
Yeah, okay.
Speaking of which, someone should pull her off the floor.
Yep, okay, let's go.
Let's go.
You feel it's up, hoisted up, Micah.
Oh, I don't want to get off the ground. The ground's nice.
My. You're
What?
making my job of covering for you ridiculously difficult here, hun.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I mean, I said it's okay if you want to practice writing about me. It's fine.
Okay.
I have some stuff that could sober her up pretty quickly, but I mean, it'll probably make the hangover 10 times worse, which will make it harder to cure.
Let's wait till tomorrow. Let's get
Okay.
this one someplace where she can't embarrass herself any further.
Okay, let's get you home. Let's
get you home,
And I
buddy.
just kind of like
Rubbing the back, yeah.
Yeah, just like okay, let's go.
Making sure her hair is tied nice and back just
Yep,
in case.
mhm.
Have a nice time, Micah.
Yeah, I think. I mean, she laughed at me a lot, but then she was laughing with me a lot, and then she took the flower anyway. I don't know.
I think you did very well.
Thank you.
Wasn't a complete dumpster fire.
Cool.
You take Micah back to the guard barracks. You kind of like pop her onto one of the cots. I imagine Micah immediately just rolls off and then rolls underneath
Yeah. No.
before you can stop.
Okay.
And then just falls straight to sleep. Yeah, and the rest of you kind of like
Possible to get her into the recovery position while she's
yeah,
under
you-
the bed.
you can-
Okay.
you can do
Okay, and I like put a blanket over her or
Yeah.
something.
There's a bucket, like you can just kind of scoot that nearby as well, just in case.
Yep.
Make sure she's got water.
Yep.
as
I'll
well.
leave a little note that just says like, "Come see, come see Val when you're awake."
Mhm. Yeah, and you all go to your respective places to sleep and end the day. Rami, when you return home, you see that Yuri's actually been sitting outside, and there's like a couple of kind of a handful of people there, and she's sort of just telling stories, and she's sort of just saying things just like, "Yes, once long ago, the Raifen and the seals would meet up in Miniry's Bay, and they had these secret catacombs where they would have various pictographs that denoted, various parts of their history, as well as protecting Miniry with their wards." And everyone's like, "Oh, interesting." And when she sees you come home, she goes, "Oh, hello, Rami."
Hi, how are you doing, Yuri? That's such an interesting story you're telling.
"Oh, yes. Well, they say that the Bay of Miniry holds many secrets. And potentially treasure for those who go searching for it," and kind of like looks out to everybody.
Really?
You realize that one of the people who is in the audience is Zeus, which is Wage's daughter, and they just kind of go, "Treasure,
Oh no.
interesting."
Okay, kiddo. That look in your eye is real suspicious there.
You've got a suspicious look in your eye.
I know, isn't it cute?
No. No, no.
What?
Yeah, and they're just kind of like wrapping up the day there. Did you want to go to your room or hang out here?
With Yuri for a little bit. I'm gonna. Don't drown. I'm gonna tell the child.
Yeah, and she's just like, "Fine, I won't drown.
Good. I don't want to plan a funeral. It's not fun.
I don't want you coming to my funeral anyway."
I'm not gonna.
"Oh, good one. Bye."
First.
Yuri just kind of looks at you just like, "Oh, kids." What can you do?
Oh, by the way, Micah's gonna come around and she's gonna fix the fence later.
Oh, that's not. She doesn't have to. That's entirely unnecessary.
No, it's
very
fine.
kind. But
Honestly, look, it's okay. I helped her in return. Don't worry about it.
I mean, you are far too kind to me. For all you do.
Well, I disagree. I think you are far too kind to me.
She just kind of like goes over and hugs you a little bit. And she says, "Well, it's getting very late for me, so I think I'm going to retire for the evening."
Sleep well, Yuri.
Absolutely, you too. If you need anything, absolutely anything, just let me know.
I think I'm okay right now.
And do you go straight to bed?
Yep.
Cool. The next day comes. Micah, you feel bad.
Emotionally or physically?
Well,
Both. Is it both? It's both.
the memories from last night are a bit fuzzy. So it's a matter of, are you the kind of person who sees fuzzy things and thinks the worst, or assumes that it didn't
Sees
go
the
that
fuzzy
bad?
things and thinks the absolute worst. And what do you think, dude?
There you go. So yeah, you see the note that Val left you, so you can go and see her in the morning if you want.
No, she's just going to nurse her hangover like all the other guards, because like there's a bit of like a macho competition of just like, you don't go to the doctor for a hangover, you suffer through it like
boy.
like a man
Oh,
or like
come
a woman.
The toxic
gosh.
workplace environment.
Oh.
Yeah, the rest of your guards who you said like they had the day to enjoy themselves, and enjoy themselves they did.
Everyone is drunk. Everyone's nursing the hangovers.
Yeah, everybody's just like looking at the guard roster like, it's you, you're up, and they all kind of like suit up. One of them it has their jerkins inside out and stuff like that.
Yeah,
get
yeah,
destroyed
report
by these
back later.
bandits.
I need to get to a meeting. Might take a while. Have fun. Bye.
Ahoy, Cap!
Opens the door. God damn, the sun
So
is
much
bright.
light.
Just like, why? Why do
Did they
people
make
live?
it lighter somehow?
Why do people live with that? Why? She points to the villager. Why do you live with it?
The sun
Yes! That!
keeps the shadows at bay, don't it?
The shadows are nice! It doesn't sear back here! Here!
Helps the crops grow, don't it?
Mushrooms! Mushrooms!
Good morning, guard captain.
Morning.
I can see the paper like guard captain yells at sun.
Old man. It's a riff on old man yells at cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then she'll
So
just
yeah.
head to the town council. Not gonna talk to Val. Don't want to face anyone that she knows at the moment.
Like Val, you can just see, it's plain on her face that she is not doing great.
Yeah, so I will make some tea and I will sneak the hangover cure into it as best as I can.
Okay.
Just
Do you
like
drink the
passing
tea?
out tea to everyone on the council so she doesn't suspect.
Lovely.
Okay. Yeah, no,
Um,
she'll drink out of politeness, but it's like, it's just hot leaf soup. I don't get it.
why do people like this? Yeah, so you gather at the village hall, and all the council members are assembled there. Esmira, the kingdom liaison, Lizella, the treasurer, Ozzy, the port authority, and Ricard, the arcana advisor, as well as the rest of you. It's not necessarily a what's the word? Formal council meeting. It's more of just a quick kind of get together to inform each other about things. So there's no kind of protocol that you have to go through other than people sitting down and you kind of saying what's going on. So it's Mirror just says, "So what is all this about?"
So, bad news first. There's also no good news, just to let you know. And
Ozzy goes, "Is that the bad news, that there is no good news?"
it's one of the bad news. Thank you, Ozzy.
Yep.
So, there's kind of a bandit turf war happening. And I explain everything I
You go
heard.
through everything.
I
Yeah.
go through everything.
It's a kind of a discussion starts along the lines of, if Noroth is directly involved with some kind of conflict right now, do we step away from them and let that kind of sort itself out, or do we need to take an active role in this? And if we do, what does that mean? Because if you are taking an active role, that means you're going to need more guards, more definitely, more security precautions, which is going to be directly against what Ix wants from the rest of you, which is to not bring, all of all this to this place and start ruining things, especially if bloodshed is going to happen. So it's a bit of a debate happening at the moment. Where do you think you all stand on the issue? Or if you want to just kind of like speak a speech of some kind, feel free to do that as well.
I mean, currently, I think we need more information. We don't know
Yeah.
enough to make a decision either way. I think our first primary objective should be collecting information, and I think that Blue and his connection to the Raiden is probably the easiest way to do that. Recruitment isn't quiet, not for the huge amount they're going. There will be word of it, and we can suss that out pretty easy. People don't notice animals as much. If we can find out what they know, if Blue can talk to some of his friends who are in that area, we can get information that way.
You can see that Izmira, like, she's sort of nodding along when you say all these things, and she kind of like raises an eyebrow for a second and just says, "Very impressive, Rami. Yes, I agree completely."
I am extremely impressive. Did you notice my dress today? Look at the colors.
Where do the rest of you stand?
I honestly, I agree with Remy. I am also.
You hear Lizella goes,
I am also of the opinion that so the conflict is between these two groups. This bandit group that's gearing up for something, sorcery is involved. There's
Yes.
How much?
I mean, we don't know yet, but a decent amount. They can go through stones with that magic rock that Ricard currently has.
yeah, Ricard looks to you, Micah, and says, "It is very likely that if they have one talisman, then they have more."
Oh, how much more do you think? If we could get like just a
How
rough
do we-
estimate.
It's difficult to say, but crafting something like this is not the question so much as who it was given to and trusted with.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that the person we met did not strike me as a particularly important person.
No, not at all. That
But
guy
maybe
was
I
an
just
idiot.
read the situation badly.
No, you didn't. That guy was a moron. You're correct.
Wait, that talisman. Do you think there's a lot more of them? A lot of them? And how do we? Is there a way to get rid of it? In, like maybe very quickly, or you know?
Yes, I'm looking at it, making sure that we gather all necessary information that we know while being very careful with it. And once I'm done, it will be disposed of appropriately.
Okay. Oh God. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. When do we get information? And how much information do we need? And then after that-
My.
Yes. Yep.
My.
Yep.
Maybe you
Breathe.
should take a deep breath. Just
I'm gonna puke. I don't think it's. I think it might be the drink though.
yeah.
Ozzy tries to sort of lighten the situation a bit by saying, "Maybe you're just a sore loser." No, bad time. Okay.
So loser. Oh, the arm wrestle. Right. Good job. You can kill the ogres now. I don't want to do that.
So Burdrith was also brought up in relation to this. Would it be worthwhile to contact him?
Izmira says, "Yes, it was something that we planned. It was perhaps going to be one of the most difficult situations because it seems like these people have very little interest in talking." But
Yeah. Well, that one's risky. We'll have to be a lot more on guard.
yes, I think if they're really moving in such an aggressive way, we need to be very careful. I don't know we'd be able to approach them in the same way that we approach the others. It
They may
might
have the
require more than
information that
diplomacy.
yeah. They may have the information that we need, though.
True. If they are fighting this enemy, then they would know it well.
That's very true. We have to be responsible.
Why don't we start setting up, getting an information network down? Blue, you can get various Raiden that you know of to try and get some information in the area. Micah, perhaps some of your guards who seem to be the most nature weary can go out and scout some things for us.
You know what? No. I questioned Micah before if any of her guards had the intelligence for it. I got a resounding no. Getting caught and having them find out what we're doing is probably the worst thing that could happen.
Micah, is this true? You have no faith in your guards?
Not no faith. It's just they never, done anything like this before. Exactly,
Ozzy speaks up and says, "Well, perhaps we can get some Rosean mercenaries then. They're close by, I have contacts, they know things well, and plausible deniability. We can just ask them to do something, and if they get caught, it wouldn't matter that much."
I like that. That's a lot better.
That's
And
going to
Lizella
be
kind of goes,
expensive.
"Mercenaries? Of course, of course. We're going to have to cut back on a few things if this is our plan. And everybody kind of agrees, like, that's okay.
Oh, like funding wise?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I mean, well, maybe if we don't need to cut back on some things, maybe I could just go with Blue and I know Lael is actually really good at combat and things like that.
Layla, yeah, is there and just kind of like their eyes go wide and just like still standing very straight and proper. And Esmira kind of like turns to Lael for a second and goes, "Would you be interested in something like that, Lael?" And Lael just kind of like very calmly goes, "I would be interested in something like that, yes."
Lael would be very good at this, actually.
Yeah, we've been training together and learning moves against each other, sparring, and yeah, I think she's up for or they're up for it.
Yeah, additionally, like Esmira says, beyond that, we'll have to try and apply what contacts we've made so far. It seems like Callista is at least willing to share information, so that's good. Hopefully we can continue that relationship and get any more intelligence that her people gather, as well as Ix. Maybe they have more contacts within the more reclusive forest folk who can get us a better idea of what we're facing here and how we can best deal with it.
Hey, Val, double check your medicine supply too. In case anything goes bad, we want to make sure we have enough on hand.
Agreed.
The next settlement that the Action Committee was going to establish contact with was Bakshar, but I'm wondering if perhaps Withir should be the most important, given as that is Burdreth's place.
Yeah, probably.
It's going to be very difficult, and dare I say, it won't be safe at all.
What if you guys just do that and I go and take a nap?
Rami.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just a cutting mom look.
I don't really see how community leader, party planner goes into negotiate. Fine.
You're our best talker.
I am really good at talking, thank you.
Welcome.
I think for this particular mission of yours, the most imperative thing is keeping yourself safe. If there's anything that seems to go awry, you should get out of there quickly. These are dangerous people we're dealing with.
I agree.
And I don't think they'll follow our customs or niceties the same way others have.
No. Do we want to try to contact them beforehand, let them know we're coming, or do we want to surprise it on them?
It kind of like opens up to the floor of just what do people think.
Well, if we let them know, that would give them the chance to turn us down. If we just show up, they're gonna have no choice but to deal with us.
Right, but we might not exactly like the way they choose to deal with us.
Yeah.
Rikat says, I can attempt to make contact with this Burdreth fellow, though it is going to be difficult and quite taxing. I might fail multiple times.
Is there an easier way than psychic contacting's a little scary? Can we just like bring a note first? Do we have to go straight to mind invading?
When is Elzani
How
gonna
far-
Oh, you know what we could do? We could do both. We could tell them that we are arriving and then have it be the same day we show up so they don't have time to refuse us.
That defeats the purpose of the letter, though.
How far away is Burdreth anyway?
A map is brought out. It is very unfilled because not much of the region has really been charted. But Esmira sort of like spreads it out and shows that Burdreth compound Withir is far, far to the east and south a little bit, approximately 10 or so miles away.
10 or so miles. Okay, that's still doable.
But that's through, the wheeled and difficult country.
Oh, right, okay.
So much walking. I hate walking.
So that's gonna be what, a 2-day journey?
Well, 10 miles, I wonder, Blue, if you could do it in a day there and back, but that's a bit of work for you.
We don't want to just
Well,
bring
it's not
Blue.
that much work. It's if I just deliver the letter and then get a response, I can bring
That's
it back.
true.
Actually, I could let you know almost immediately.
That's true. We could
That's
do that,
true.
but I do want. I really want an animal information net at the same time, and I don't know if I immediately want
Well,
to.
I would have to go into the Weald anyway to speak to my friends.
That's
so
true. Okay, you know what? I think that's great. Then I'm team in this plan.
We should warn Ix as well.
Yeah, we definitely should. So
I can do
if
that right now, right?
I'm understanding
Do I have
right,
a second?
our plan is that Lyell's going to go in as like a spy sort of informant information thing. And
I don't think spy so much
Not
as
so much?
scout.
just a scout. Just gonna go scout it out. Okay.
Yeah.
So Lyell's gonna scout out the area. We're gonna have Blue try to get a little information web while going over and delivering a note, and that's kind of where we are.
Looks like it, yeah. As well as getting, information from people around you and the Raiden, and also I think it's brought up if you know anybody, Micah, from your people who could potentially get some information as well. Especially given that the talisman was believed to be of some kind of night person make.
Interesting. Okay.
So potentially you could contract Piri to get some info there.
Yep.
So yeah, that seems like the plan.
Can I get like a charcoal rubbing of like the marks that are on the stone?
I think
Okay.
Ricard is against that at first because he still needs to sort of understand them a little bit more. And there is always a risk of these things acting in strange ways.
Oh. Okay.
It's like, was that going to become corrupted paper now? Or...
Okay.
So he'll let you know once he's learned more about it.
What would corrupt paper be like? That is a very fascinating subject to me, a newspaper journalist. Ricard, explain more in detail there, bud.
He says, well, any object can be corrupted by shadow of sorcery. It's really just a matter of infusing it with the correct necessary energy of the great shadow plane that all existence slowly, perpetually drifts toward.
Oh, you make it so boring. So there could be like a corrupt paper, and you could still write on it, and then you could just write it like a corrupt book.
I certainly, yes. Though this is speaking very theoretically right now. It's simply taking the most precautions as are necessary for handling an object such as this.
I mean, if it's like that transferable, would it be the rune itself, or would it just be the contact of it? If you just push something else against it, would that become corrupt too?
Unknown. That is why we are conducting these tests. And such objects tend to behave erratically and differently.
What if you throw water at it? Will the water get corrupt?
Again, anything is possible. Which is why we are doing tests.
What
to
if people
ensure-
drink the water if the water is corrupt? What would happen then?
Again, anything is possible. This is why we are running tests to ensure that we are being as safe as possible.
Are you gonna make someone drink corrupt water?
I do not plan on doing that, no.
Okay.
You can see Asmira says, "Okay, let's finalize that plan. Lazella, can we secure the funds for this?" And Lazella says, "I can make it work. Just Feldo's going to be a bit mad that none of his projects are going to be seen to. Which, by the way, a lot of projects you got on his list, didn't you?"
It was gonna be an archway. We had no use for an archway. I argued us into a bridge, which is useful. A lot more useful. I should be getting a thank you, not a stare that I did something wrong again.
Asmira says, "Okay, council members, please. Well, okay, everybody, start getting to work on everything you need to do, and we will adjourn again during our weekly meeting to catch up on everything that's been determined."
Okay.
And meeting adjourned.
Yeah.
You can see that Lael comes over to you, Micah and Rami, and just goes, "Thank you."
Oh, Ricard, before you go, wait.
He kind of like stops. He's already kind of like thinking about something else. He's like, "Oh, yes."
That talisman, did you figure out a way to use it?
No, that is not my primary goal. I'm simply trying to determine its purpose and its capabilities.
Okay, well, could you let me know as soon as possible if you figure out what it does exactly, and maybe make it a secondary goal of how to use it?
That is currently my goal, yes.
Okay, I just meant, well, it's just kind of important, and if you can walk through walls, it's kind of important. And I
Yes.
just can you tell me first before anyone else on the council?
Surely the entire council needs to know the results of my
No,
experiment.
no, I'm not saying like never tell them. I'm just saying tell me first. Just because I'm curious about it, I guess.
Make a persuasion or deception test, your choice.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Ooh, what's going on here?
What? I rolled an 11 with
With
one
a stunt
stun
point.
Um.
I shove him.
Tell me or else. Bull. I'll shove you in a locker.
It seems I've fallen down.
I honestly, it only can do button mots or passionate inspiration. I don't know if either of those will actually
Okay, it doesn't
apply.
apply, sure. Yeah, he looks at you and he says, I will do what I determine is the best course of action. And then he just kind of turns around and starts to leave.
Okay. Damn it.
So the rest of you are left in this council chamber. Is there anything the four of you discuss?
Hey Val, can I come over for dinner?
Yes?
Cool.
Okay. You did very well today. You've said some very astute things.
Do you guys think I'm dumb? That's really mean, Val. You should look on yourself and think why you judge people so hard.
Jesus.
No, I mean, you just seem to be more engaged than usual.
I'm always engaging, Val.
Okay. Also, Blue, would you be able to check in with Ix about the bow? I haven't heard anything back from them.
I don't remember. Do Aix and I have an established psychic connection? Or...
I believe you do, yes.
Okay, sure. Yeah, of course. And I will do the psychic projection thingy that Aix
Excellent.
does.
Do the
Yeah.
thing.
So you see a ghostly Ix appear, and they kind of go, ah!
Hi,
hello.
Ix.
Hi, Blue.
Hi, it's me, Blue.
Greetings, hello.
Hello.
Is there
Oh, right, I'm doing some. Yes. Okay, so, apparently there's a bandit turf war. These are the right words I'm using. Yes.
They kind of like put their head down and go, well, that didn't take long, did it?
Did you already know about that?
No, I was referring to the potential problems that the village and its denizens could cause, and it seems that such things are underway already.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah.
Record
Hey, it's
time!
your
Legs.
fault.
You can't hear him. It's
Yeah.
fine. But yeah, so there's a turf war, and it has been put to me to see if the forest folk and various Raiden and the Weald would be able to give us any information, or if they would be willing to aid the village in finding any information about the. I'm sorry, which bandits were we trying to look for again? It's
There was
just
no,
like the. Is there no name for them?
there's no name. Like, as far as what Rami has told you, is they are a sort of a ragtag collective that has just been slowly building up to be one united front. Typically, it's just like small bands in pockets of the mountains here and there, but they are now organizing to become a bit of a horde.
Crime organization. Is
Yeah.
there any like suspicious activities aside from common banditry?
We always have problems with certain selfish souls to the north of this place. Apart from that, I can't say I have noticed anything. The spirits are being unusually quiet as of late.
That's strange. We've
Yes.
also found I believe Ricard said he'd talk to you about this, but there's this strange talisman that we found.
Indeed, most worrying. It seems quite manufactured, not a recent discovery. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to help your man out with much else more than that.
Yes. Okay. Well, aside from that, we just wanted to warn you, see if there was anything you knew, and I will probably be visiting the Weald soon. So if I see you,
The bow. Ask about the bow.
oh, the bow, the Val is very interested about the bow. Have you found out
yes.
anything more about that?
Absolutely fascinating discovery that I made while communing with the spirits concerning the bow. Its creators. I managed to track a part of their diaspora, you could say, and
Mhm.
interestingly enough, they seem to wend their way throughout the Weald until they end up in the place where your village is. Which is to say, the oldest members of whoever lived in your village before it became a village can be directly traced back to the people who made and revered this bow. So, oddly, by rights, it's Miniry's?
I suppose so. You wouldn't happen to have like a name
No.
or a mailing address?
The spirits, you well know the spirits do not deal in names and addresses.
Yes, these addresses, they're a new thing that I've learned. They do seem kind of convenient to help you find the buildings that look alike here.
Oh, Blue, you've changed a little bit. I don't mean that in a
Yes.
good or bad way, just an interesting note.
No, it's certainly a way.
If you're looking for a specific person to bequeath this item to, perhaps you could ask some of the population who might know of such old things.
So old people.
I didn't say that, but yes.
Some old people.
Old
Okay.
people.
Oh,
Oh.
great.
We
Okay.
prefer the term elderly.
Not
the
aged.
elders.
Yes, elders.
Okay. Yes, okay. I don't know who they are, but I will find that out.
I could just
Idea.
imagine Blue running around and be like, "Are you an elder?" to just like a random like middle-aged woman and her being super offended.
I hope Blue asks one of us before.
But besides that, I believe that's everything. Did anyone else have anything they wanted to say to Ix before we send them off?
Oh, you with people, say hello from Ix.
Hello from Ix.
Hello, Ix.
Mwah.
Rami said hi, and I do a wave with my wing, and then moi.
Oh, isn't that sweet? Well, if there's nothing else, Blue, it seems I have some matters to attend to here. I shall keep you informed.
Thank you. I will do the same for you.
Try to find something to laugh at today. It's good for the soul.
I'll try. Sure.
Farewell.
Ghost.
Cool.
Well, that was lovely. It's nice to. I'm sorry. Oh no, not a real ghost. It's just, when you do the psychic contact and they leave.
I know, but there are still people who are talking about the whole ghost cow incident. We can't throw around the word ghost lightly. It's an issue. I have wrote
Wait, hold on.
the
one second.
ghost and
Hold on.
cow.
No. This situation has now, this whirlwind of rumors has now turned into there's a mysterious ghost cow roaming
That was never
around.
solved. No.
No, it wasn't.
Wait,
Like,
no,
it
first.
Found this cow yet?
No.
No,
Like one
look.
god followed through and found nothing, and that's just where
Oh
it all
my
ended.
god.
So,
Okay,
it's right to the point where it's a ghost cow, and, I haven't put it on the paper because that's ridiculous. There's not
we
a
need
ghost
to
cow.
deal with this.
I feel like we have more important things, Val. There is a gang bandit turf war. We can't focus on the cow ghost.
You feel a rush of cold wind and hear a slam of the door as the village hall doors open, and in runs Alzani, the young courier boy. He is out of breath,
Oh no.
and he looks very worried. And he looks to all of you and he says, we have a problem.
What problem?
What's the problem?
I just came from KO to the southeast. There's nobody there. Everybody gone.
What do you mean?
It's ghost town. There's nobody there.
Any bodies? Any sign
Nothing.
of a
I saw
struggle?
nothing. There's nothing there. Something very strange has happened. Just an entire village gone.
That's not normal.
No.
No. There's still festival Decorations up. I think they might have been attacked. I don't know.
If there's an attack, there'd be signs. Did you see signs of struggle?
I knew there was nobody there to greet me, and so I ran immediately. I didn't see much else.
Not your fault. You got the information fast. Thank you for that.
We have to do something.
Yes.
We need to go now.
Oh, okay.
There?
Yes.
Okay. Are the other council members all gone? Are we gonna let someone know?
They've gone on their duties, but you can quickly run them down.
Yeah,
and-
I think we're gonna need Rickard. Or Rickard. Nah.
You can just call him Ricky like Rami does to annoy him, even though it
You,
doesn't work.
You chase after Rickard. He's gone, kind of like going over to his home before he like opens the door. You run up behind him and grab him and say, "We have important stuff to do." And he's like, "I see." Like
Entire
you can see
village
his entire
gone.
like he's been planning out everything he's gonna do today and just shattered.
Entire village gone. No sign of a struggle. Festival decorations still up.
Fascinating.
Sorcery?
Well, certainly some form of arcana we should investigate at once.
Alright, let's go.
I'm gonna warn Ozzy in case it was a port, in case there's like any port attack
Yeah,
or whatever
absolutely.
happened. Just like hey, watch out! There's a whole town missing. We can't say that it wasn't a sea attack, so just be careful.
You actually would know it wasn't a sea attack
Okay,
because
it wasn't.
the village of Kaor is not near
Oh,
a large body of water.
okay, then never mind.
You can
Oh.
just tell him, "Hey, we're going village gone by."
Yeah, I'll just tell everyone. Yeah, and I'll just run it to the different council members real quick so they're aware.
Excellent. Okay, so they're made aware, and you all begin to set out on your journey. For this, you will probably need horses if you want to get there as quickly as possible. You can very
Do I
quickly
need a
get there.
horse or can I have a Fred?
So here's the thing. This is a wild animal. You did okay. Why don't you roll a communication animal handling check to see how well you've sort of made Fred comfortable with your presence.
That's fair. We haven't spent
This is
time
going to be a
together.
bit tricky because again, a wild animal has no reason to go along with any of this.
How is Elzani reacting to seeing a horse-sized peacock?
And
Well,
his name
he and Rami actually had a bit of a heated argument when you took his stall. And he was very careful to make sure you never did that again. But otherwise, it's fine.
It wasn't an argument. Rami's strategy was just pretend he already said yes and forgot.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so you get a 16 for that. Okay.
You know what? I'm gonna re-roll one too.
All right. Reroll that too.
Let's see. Instead of a 2.
To determine if you can ride into battle with a giant peacock. That's a 6.
Oh boy.
All right, you wore me down. Okay.
Okay.
So you have been attempting over the past 2 days. You've been kind of carving out some time to spend with Fred, who's been making terrible messes everywhere. Who has been kind of like, when let out of the stall, has just been kind of going wherever he wants in town, pecking and eating and causing major disruptions, which I'm sure you
Oh, I
found very
love
enjoyable.
Fred.
And you've probably tried to put a saddle on this giant bird a couple of times. And at first, he hated it. Soon enough, he just kind of got used to you doing weird stuff. And you have successfully once before sat on his back while wearing the saddle as well. It is hard to say how this is going to go if he has to run you a long distance. Or any distance for that matter. So I'll put it on you. Do you think that? Do you trust Fred to take you on this journey at the speed at which everybody else is going, without any major complications?
Gosh, I want to say yes because the pure chaos of it sounds really enjoyable. But this is a very serious situation, and maybe I should save Fred's shenanigan party time for later.
You know what you could do is you could put the saddle on Fred and then sort of just tie him to the horse you would be on to just get him used to sort of running with horses and understanding what that experience would be like.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Don't know why I just talked myself into making this
Yeah, I
bird
gave
come
you
along.
an out, Thomas. I gave you like a full on out.
Okay, so everybody saddles up. How are you all when it comes to riding horses at speed?
Great.
Micah's strategy is much like a person who hasn't ridden a horse very much, and it's mainly just like really awkwardly like low over the saddle, like arms flung over the neck, and just holding on to dear life.
Oh god, the horse
Which you're
is not
very
gonna
good.
like that.
There's one thing you're good at doing, it's holding on for dear life.
Yeah, so yeah, the horse is probably very displeased and like not and like also being a little bumpy and kind of annoyed by it, which doesn't help. She holds tighter. It's not a
So-
good look.
Yeah, it's a real quick question. So obviously the four of you are going. Blue, you don't need a horse. You're bringing Ricard with you. Alzani offers to come with you as well, but it's up to you whether you kind of agree to that or not.
I mean, if Azani's coming, I'm riding behind him. I in the same.
You also know he is the fastest rider kind of in the entire territory of this place.
Yeah, we could having someone who can get places faster.
He's
than
a
us doesn't make us
teenager, though.
That's the truth. Wait, how old is he?
He's
How-
17,
Yeah.
and he's
Aw.
independent as
I
well.
thought we were gonna not endanger children this time.
In older 17 is adult.
I don't feel good about it.
Why don't we
I-
just say no when we avoid the child endangerment this game?
I also don't know how much combat experience he has and all of that.
A decent
Blah.
amount. More than the rest of you. Let's have a
Okay, now
look.
that you're putting it like that, he might be more qualified. However, as Val, I'm going to put my foot down and say absolutely not.
So Val votes no. What about everybody else?
Mhm.
What do you want to do? What's your vote? Because I'll.
He says I can come along. I knew people there. I want to make sure they're okay, and maybe I can help out, or at the very least get a message to other people quickly if something goes really bad.
I
Is
vote for
there,
what you want since your decision matter. Yours should matter. So.
He kind of goes, "Wow, thank you."
I really want him to come. I mean, it'd be really nice.
Besides Miniry, is there another village really close to that one?
This is the one that's close to Miniry.
This is it.
I know.
yeah.
Besides Miniry, is there another village in this area?
The other nearest village is Thanen, which is a bit further away, more to the south than the east.
Okay.
Let me just,
So it's not like they could have went there. Because my suggestion is maybe you ride there and see if they know anything or if the same has happened to them.
he tells you he actually came through Thanen before he made it to Kaior, and says
Okay.
everything was fine there.
Okay.
Just a thought. I mean, the fact that that village disappeared and it's really close by, and you know, I know I'm just a one-person guard captain and all that, but what if we go there and then the people who attacked that village comes here and we're gone?
That is a valid point that should be discussed. Should we bring Micah along when her responsibility is to the town first?
You can see Alzani says, "Isn't that what you have your guards for?"
I think she's just
Just to
thinking about
clarify,
like.
by the way, like I know we've gone really mean on the guards, but like they're at least somewhat capable. Like
I'm
they're
also
not
thinking like they're
picking
all.
their noses with their spears or anything like
But
that.
I'm also
Like
thinking like.
they are adults.
Oh, okay, but I'm also thinking that they are all super hungover from the day before.
Yeah, and no, we just said none of them are gonna take the medicine because they're too.
Too macho.
I question how macho they really are.
I mean,
How capable? Okay, actually though, how capable are they? Because I'm thinking of them as like a 2 out of 10.
So
think
Suna
more
has been
closer to
going over
5.
drills with them, like her mentor used to go over with her, in terms of like raising some measure of discipline, like having plans for when certain things happen, where to evacuate people, what kind of choke points to defend of the village and stuff like that. So like they have training, they are trained.
Okay, guess it should be fine.
So 1 through 10, what's your rating?
I don't want to assign a number to that. Because 10 is like, the Sovereign's finest level 20 adventurers. 1 is probably what you would put on, a village guard in the middle of nowhere.
So they're level. They're 1 out of
They're
10.
one.
In
then
the
what?
grand scheme of fantasy, yes, they are worth 2 XP each.
Oh no!
oh no!
But they're not fighting, level 20 adventurers. They're just defending a town.
Right, from something that destroyed a town just a second ago.
One might argue, what could Micah really do? What difference would it really make? But it's up to you.
That's
What
true.
are we? How can we help this village going into it, though? I mean, if it is Arcana, we can try to reverse it, but
I think Ricard speaks up and says, primarily I would like to determine exactly what happened and what the cause was.
Actually, I think the best course of action would be for the really fast guy to stay here in case something happens. He could ride to us quickest and get so.
You can see Alzani's like ready to argue that, and he's like, no, that's a very good point. I am the fastest.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to take away from your point that these are people you care about, and honestly, that's something to keep in matters too.
Hey, I trust you. Val's going. She'll take care of them.
That's true. Val takes care of everyone.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
just Ricard and the rest of us. Okay.
Okay. So you saddle up, and you start galloping out of Miniry. Everybody make a riding check, please.
What is that under dexterity?
That's dexterity, yes.
boy.
I forgot to put all the checks in.
I don't think anybody has riding, so it's going to be dexterity for
Nope.
all of you, except for Blue, who is just flying overhead.
Yes.
Blue, why don't you make a perception check just to keep an eye out
Oh
for
my
anything?
god, I hung out
Oh,
tight
Micah.
enough.
Holy
God.
cow.
I rolled an 18. Thank God.
With 5 freaking stunt points.
Oh,
and Rami
my!
is 17. Meanwhile, I have a 10.
I think Rami, because Rami has the social etiquette skill. I think she like has learned different
I
styles of
think
Yeah.
writing in
Micah
different
just hung
cultures.
on tight enough. She's held on tight enough.
So like she's not particularly trained in writing like fast or anything, but she knows the different ways and different cultures of doing it.
Yeah, you all did really well. I'm going to roll for Ricard, actually.
Oh boy.
Holy damn, that's a 14 plus his dex, so that's pretty good.
Nice.
We know
Um,
what's at stake.
It's great, you're not all just falling off your horses comedically as you're going to deal with this very serious situation. Rami, are you doing the thing where you're on a horse, but you're kind of taking Fred behind you as well?
Yeah, I'm trying to teach Fred. Like, here's how you be a horse, buddy.
Beautiful. Yeah, I think, Mikey, you're on a horse that's like the most sort of stoic and tough and solid of the horses, so it doesn't really like care what you're doing so much. You just need to be able to hold on well, which you are very good at doing. And the rest of you do absolutely fine as well. Fred just kind of like following, seems very happy to be going on this massive run with its big backwards legs.
Oh God, why? Okay.
Just a blur of peacock feathers.
Wait, so
Alright.
does this thing move at like the same rate as an ostrich, basically?
No,
Oh.
it is a horse-sized peacock that can move as fast as a horse.
I'm just wondering how that works with its leg size. I'm just saying, like.
Listen, it's all I can do is keep saying it's horse-sized.
Okay.
Oh,
Also,
that's so terrifying. A horse-sized peacock is so scary. What
also
am I
grew up in the
doing?
feast field, so it's naturally just a bit weird in a few places.
Okay.
So it might have a magical potential that it's tapping into right now.
Oh dear.
Yeah, so you start galloping through the region. You kind of head south and to the east towards the village of Kyor. As you're going, fortunately, it is a very nice, pleasant day. The sun is out and shining, so there's no kind of bad weather as you go. There's not a whole lot to see on these paths because there is, barely a road. It is not a path that is necessarily well traveled, but that will certainly change once that tunnel gets built potentially. And yeah, you cross a few bridges. You make your way through the very kind of beautiful, almost untouched nature of this area, heading kind of going by beautiful shining lakes and making your way under these kind of like snow-capped trees as you're going as well. It's all it's like you have kind of like you're driven by your purpose of kind of the emergency situation that you find yourself in, but the ride is fairly long. So during it, is there anything that any of you are doing or saying to each other? Take
Keeping
that as
an
a
eye out?
no.
Keeping an eye out just
Yeah.
seems like
yeah,
a
just
general good
like
idea.
we gotta get there.
Yeah.
It is go time.
You kind of occasionally hear from Fred, who's happily like bounding along with the rest of you. Blue, you kind of like keeping an eye out for any threats, especially like roaming gangs of bandits or like an army or
Or evil
sorcerers. Yeah,
Exactly.
any of those death knights that you had a altercation with once long ago.
You met a death knight?
He probably hasn't
bunch of
told you
them. It was
that.
terrible.
Oh god. Shh. Shh. Secret.
Backstory
Um,
stuff. Hush.
And yeah, soon enough you make it to the village of Kyor. It is smaller than Miniry in terms of population, however, it is kind of bigger in terms of the space that it takes up. It's kind of carved into the side of a hill. It's got kind of a stepped strata of stone and dirt, allowing them to have nice flat farmland in various places. And kind of on every little step there's a few farmhouses, and the next one a few more, and the next one a few more, and at the very top that's where most of the structures are, which seems to kind of be the heart of the village, where they have their temple and kind of a community center and various other things. So yeah, as you ride in, you can see that there's like a switchback that leads up these steps of this place that's kind of got this dry red earth. And as you kind of like wind your way upwards, you start to pass some of the farms, some of the farmhouses. Do you investigate these farmhouses, or are you going to go straight to the what's the plan?
No, we're gonna look at the farmhouses, right, guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Farmhouses.
Yeah, you head to one of the farmhouses, like it's a very simple dwelling, and you kind of like stomp around, look, you see nobody there. Do you knock? Do you call out? Do you cast spells?
I would like to knock and call out and see if anyone's there, and if I get no response, I want to look in the windows to see what it looks like inside.
Yeah, there's no response. Looking inside, you see nothing of note, just an empty dwelling. You see that the hearth is embers right now, and that's about it.
Does it... I don't know, does it look like they were in the middle of a meal or something like that? I'm kind of trying to figure out, like, does it look like they just got raptured and, like, things are kind of in, like, a still life? Or is it, like, in
Or
a
is
state
there like
of
signs of
disarray?
chaos, like they were running from something?
Yeah.
Does
Everybody,
any of our second sense go off?
that's a very good point. Everybody can do a perception searching test.
Oh, yay!
And then let's see,
Yeah.
second sight.
Let's
Second
see.
sight.
So searching, not seeing, just to clarify, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
I really... Can I...
Your second sights don't bring anything up.
Can
Though
I
for
re-roll
blue,
one of those?
yeah, go ahead and spend conviction to reroll a die. Blue, why don't you make a sense arcana test as well, since you have
Oh.
the talents necessary for that. Ooh.
It's no better. It's the
Alright.
same.
So you got a 13 from Val,
Yeah.
12.
And which would
13,
be the roll for
10.
that?
That is your
Psychic perception?
Yes, that
Okay.
one. Okay. With a 12, I don't think that is enough for you to sense anything here.
Okay.
So that doesn't necessarily mean there is no arcana, but it just means that there was
It's
nothing that you
would a
sensed this time
14
around.
be enough? Wait, no, it's 13. Never mind.
Okay. Yeah, but otherwise, none of you can really find anything here. You see that it does very much seem like most people have kind of just up and vanished, but there is a couple of hints of being interrupted. I think, Val, you see that there's like a bucket at a well that was clearly being filled and just kind of got knocked over and just fell down. You kind of like see spilled carts here and there. So it looks like it wasn't just a straight up everybody's gone, but there was a little bit of something. There was some
Okay.
reaction.
That's good. There wasn't a reaction. That's comforting to know that they didn't just up and vanish.
Lou, could you object read something?
Yeah, I'm gonna start
Wait.
going around and.
It's fatiguing, right? Do we want to waste it here, or do we want to go into the main village?
Well,
and...
It could be. I mean, I'm able to do it without being fatigued, and I really
Okay.
don't mind.
All right. Sorry.
I'm not sure. Wait, would I know if some objects are just more likely to give useful information than other objects? Okay, so yeah, it wouldn't matter really when we try.
Also,
Well, it's
it's a
just
bit of
some
a
objects are touched more than others. Like if we're trying to find out what happened.
It's a bit of a
suppose
scramble as well, because sometimes it could be like, oh, when this thing was first made versus its most recent kind of interaction.
It's true.
Yeah. So it's all up in the air. It's just
Okay.
something I could try.
Yeah, do it. You're awesome at this kind of stuff, Blue. It's very impressive.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And, oh wait. There might
Fred
be
thinks you're
something.
impressive as well.
It's a bit unsettling because that kind of peacock call just echoes.
Oh,
We're not going to talk about how that sounds spooky.
maybe we should be quiet. Maybe we need to be stealthy about this. We don't know what's happened.
Okay.
Can I also do? Sorry.
How
when I
stealthy
have
can
a
with a poor-sized peacock?
what? Am I muted? No. Okay.
No,
Oh, I'm
you-
sorry. I'm sorry.
What's that?
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Go
No,
for
you're
it.
good. Please. No, I was just making a joke. Go on.
Okay. I was about to say I generated a couple of stun points, and
Uh-huh.
I was thinking that I can use the 3 for that makes me wonder. So you may immediately make another perception test to discover more information about your surroundings. Can I use it for
Ooh.
Oh,
tracking
interesting.
or anything?
Yes, absolutely. Please do.
Okay. Did that roll? No, that's another 10.
Yeah, it's a 10.
fine.
It's hard because there's sort of footprints everywhere. It's difficult for you to determine if, like, oh, these are recent of somebody running, or if it's just like, oh, this is this person coming and going from the market or whatever.
Okay, that's fine.
What about the horses and livestock and everything?
Um,
Is that still present, or is that gone too?
you do see there are animals here still. There is an ox that's kind of attached to a plow. You find a little kitten that just kind of comes up to you, goes meow.
I'll pick them up. I'm
Meow.
just kind of
Uh-huh.
like, is it kitten, or is it like a cat?
It's a kitten.
Okay. We don't. Oh,
We're keeping it.
We're keeping it. We're keeping the cat. It's ours now.
I will, if you'd throw it away, I will requisition it as
There's-
head.
but there's all of
Captain.
these.
I will also help her requisition that cat. The
I'm
kitten is ours.
requisitioning the kitten.
It's Micah's kitten.
Yes.
It's someone's cat. There's just no one here to take
It's
care
been
of it right
requisitioned
now.
by the town of.
It's
Miniry.
been requisitioned by the town of Miniry.
Some kid
can
could
see
This
absolutely
object
love
now,
this.
guys.
You can see during this that Ricard is just kind of wandering off and just heading up towards the highest step of his village.
Okay.
Oh, we should
there's-
probably follow the space
Yeah.
cadet.
Yeah, you follow after him. The higher up that you get in this village, the more you start to hear the sound of this, like, what can I describe it as? Like a damp chirping, almost like a.
I don't like that.
The
Hello.
closer and closer that you get to the village, it gets a bit louder as well. Not super loud, but just kind of a cacophony of.
Oh, I really don't like that.
It sounds like little feet, kind of a thing.
No, it's more wet than that.
Oh, I really don't like that.
Which is the thing you never want to hear.
Dear.
What is it? What? What? Hello?
Can I?
I mean,
I'm
like
gonna
looking
do-
around the town, you can see that like it is basically devoid of life. There's, you know, simple and colorful banners and streamers set up everywhere across buildings, across trees.
Do their streamers look better than our streamers?
They're different.
know a spell that could try and I could try and survey the land, sort of.
Mhm.
It could give a lot of information, or it could give nothing. So it's just something I could try.
Is this like your nature commune spell?
This is the nature commune spell.
Cool. Go for it.
Yep. Yes.
What is it like when Blue kind of like tries to contact the spirits of nature?
Blue? Actually, he does do like a little crisscross applesauce with his bird legs. It's weird,
Oh.
but he does it. And it looks a lot like just him sitting with his eyes closed in a meditative state.
Mhm.
It's very something he learned from Ix.
Love it.
Yes. Do I have to roll for this spell?
I believe you roll, and it
Yes.
determines the radius of how far you learn information.
Nope. It's just a 1 mile radius. The test is 1.
Yeah, so it's every number over that is how many more miles,
Oh, really?
or every 2, one of those. So basically, with the 14, you learn a lot about the surrounding area.
Nice.
Oh, wow. That is a lot. So,
so
it's about-
tell me some of the things that this spell can tell you.
Okay, so I can
Well.
learn the ground of the the terrain, the plants, the minerals, bodies of water, people, general animal population, presence of animals, presence of powerful and natural creatures, in the general state of the nature setting.
Okay, so you basically, it's like a combination of a sonar pulse and a weather report and like a instant counting of certain things.
Exactly.
So it's fairly standard, a lot of information that you get about the wilds. You're very much used to that from just doing it around Miniry whenever you feel like it. The most interesting thing that gets pointed out to you is that there is a unusually high number of animals in this area, and that you also sense a powerful force of some kind. How is that
Good.
worded? Like you can sense a powerful something?
Creature, unnatural creature.
You an unnatural creature?
It says unnatural creature.
Okay, in that case, never mind.
So you just sense a lot of animals? What kind?
Don't know if it necessarily tells you what kind.
Okay.
It does not tell me the general animal population, the presence of animals, presence of powerful unnatural creatures, and the general state of the natural setting.
So I think what you get is a lot of like sort of a radar of various, domesticated animals kind of throughout the area, used for agriculture especially. And then there's just a large concentration in the village itself. And this is about the time when you kind of get up to the highest strata of this place, and you walk around the various big buildings, and you see that the sounds that you were hearing is the sound of about 200 or so mouths eating various bits of food that were left out on the market, because you see approximately 200 kittens chomping on all the food in this marketplace.
Did the entire village get turned into kittens?
Well,
I look at the kitten that I am still holding.
You notice it doesn't have a collar or anything like that.
I'm going to do second sight.
How does that go exactly? I think second sight is a random thing. It's not an active.
if it's a lingering magical arcana thing, it procs, I think.
Yeah,
I don't
you
know.
can sense
Oh,
the
so-
use and lingering effects of Arcana. Make a second sight test to detect Arcana in use in your vicinity to sense an attempt at psychic contact or detect and read the signature left behind by Arcana.
Okay, yeah, please go ahead and roll that then.
Oh, that's not good at all.
That's not good at all.
Ooh.
Oh,
Everything is a
boy.
bit fuzzy over here. There's a lot of power that is sort of disrupting a lot of your abilities. And when the kittens notice the rest of you, the ones that aren't, paws deep in hundreds of fish, they start coming over to you and just kind of going meow and just sort of like brushing against your legs, acting very much like cats, not acting like people at all.
Rickert. What?
They love the pets, like meow.
Rickert? What happened?
Ricard kind of like puts a
Ricard.
hand to his chin and goes, fascinating.
No! Not
Would this-
fascinating!
This is very
Would
fascinating.
this be applicable for identify nature, which allows me to identify plants and animals? Would this like say, yes, this is not an actual cat?
You
would
can
it
try
just
that,
say
absolutely.
cat?
Yeah, you can try that.
Okay. Cool.
Oh, that is
Meow.
a good roll.
It's a cat.
It's just a cat.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
There's okay. Is this town known for having a ton of cats?
No.
No, absolutely not.
I'm gonna read an object now. I need
Okay.
to know something.
What object do you grab nearby? You're in a marketplace right now, so there's plenty of stuff everywhere. There's overturned
Something
carts.
that
there's
looks
buckets.
like it was probably dropped suddenly
There is
by a person who became a cat.
There is a basket of bread that looks like it was dropped onto the ground, and kind of its little covering came off, and it looks like one of the cats had a little bit of a nibble. You could try it on that basket if you want.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go ahead and roll
Want to
that.
become a cat? That sounds.
Ooh.
That's the 9.
Would you
I'm
like to
gonna
use your
re-roll.
conviction?
Yeah. I'll
I have to
reroll
look
the
up-
1.
I need to look up the object reading
Hopefully.
table.
Come on, buddy.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So that becomes a 14.
Wait.
Oh.
I might. Oh, wait.
Yep.
Is it the lower you go, the less recent it is? I don't.
No,
it's like.
it's all about accuracy.
Oh, accuracy for like what I'm trying to find?
Mhm.
Ah, okay. Cool.
Accuracy and breadth of vision, if that makes sense.
They-
So you can see things
Okay.
easier and more selectively as well. the higher you roll.
Cool. Okay. So I got
So 14.
yep, 14.
That drastically changes a 9, what a 9 would have been.
Oh boy.
So here's what you see. You're kind of like a hit with the experiences of a person, kind of like you smell fresh bread as it's being put into this basket. Somebody is lovingly kind of like wrapping it up, getting ready. You can feel their excitement just kind of like radiating from their body as they're happily making their way to the market. There's kind of a sense of the colors all around from yesterday's festival, and you can see that there's like the sounds and smells of a market. A lot of people have brought in various things from other villages, and it's a kind of like wonderful display. And you see this person kind of carrying this basket under their arm, and then they're kind of like saying, good morning to everybody. They're going about their day. Nothing seems out of the ordinary. And that's when one person turns into a cat, and then another person turns into a cat right before your eyes, and then another person, and then another person. And people start to freak out at this point. People are running around. People don't really know what to do. And it seems that not a single person is spared this fate.
Okay, so yeah, cats. I'm seeing that they were just going about their day, and they were turned into cats.
How do we fix this?
I do not know.
You, when you say that, Val, you can hear the sound of a sort of psychic pulse that is common with Raiden call out, and a voice says, "Oh, you don't." And then I'd like you all to make a willpower test.
Ooh, we're
Is
gonna be
this-
cats!
By any chance, self-discipline?
It is, yes. Because annoyingly, everything is self-discipline.
Okay.
Oh, I have 6 stud points with 6.
Oh my
Nice.
god.
What can I use? Can I use some points on this or no? That feels.
Can you use stunt points on this? This is a defensive roll, so I don't think so, no.
That's fair.
So did anybody roll more than a 16?
No.
No, but I want to use one of my convictions.
Go ahead.
I would also like to do that too.
Please do.
Speaking of which, did
Okay.
I get a conviction for like helping Miniry back in the meeting and giving like good advice?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Oh, that's a 6.
4. That's.
But I get it.
Okay.
Conviction for telling them that they turned into cats, because my thing is like telling people things.
I feel like this is. I don't see it as being an important, like, a question of should I keep this secret or should I tell them? Like, it's not a.
Yeah,
That makes
this was
sense.
Sort of. It was just something I was gonna tell them anyway.
Like, it wasn't a moral quandary for you to say that to them, So,
Mhm.
sorry.
Okay, I did get one. I got up to 16 now.
You got up to 16.
I got 18.
You got 18. Okay. All right. So that means that everybody except for Blue and Val.
You mean,
Turn-
Remy?
Nope. Just.
Rami.
Nope.
Nope.
Just Val and Blue. Turns into
What?
kittens.
Oh,
Blue's a Raiden, which is not an animal, but
we're
What?
at it.
Shit.
Is what
And-
we have in common.
And the two of you, so the ones of you who are cats, you're cats. Like, don't worry about anything right now. Or kittens, rather. There's a lovely fish nearby. The two of you who are left, you look up and see that on the roof of one of the nearby buildings, there is a large rye cat with kind of this dark fur. And you can see that they have a fresh scar over the side of their face. That looks quite deep and quite long. Like, this is not from another animal. And they have these piercing emerald eyes. And when they see kind of this taking place, they sort of enter a more defensive / ready to pounce at the ones who resisted this stance. And that's where we'll end tonight's session.
Meow.
Well,
Hey.
is Ricardo a cat? Did he make it? He made it, right?
Thank you so much, everybody who
Oh, no.
tuned in to another tale from Miniry Village. I have been Thomas. These have been my amazing players. Some of whom are now
Bye.
kittens.
Yep.
Yeah, Val,
Thanks for
this solved
watching.
a lot of Ramy's problems, honestly.
Oh my god.
If you liked us and would like to follow more of our exploits, we will be here every single week doing the same thing. If you would like to see how this resolves, I would certainly love to see what plans you all have in motion for getting out of this situation. We also have the Chromatic Chimera Discord. Information can be found under Twitch. Also, our music is provided by Windswept. Go check them out. They are really amazing artists who does really cool fantasy stuff, ideal for just relaxing and studying to, or for your role-playing games. It is spelled Windswept. Go check them out on YouTube. They are amazing. Does anybody have anything else they would like to say before we wrap up?
We love you.
We do
Love
like
you.
Yes, we do love you.
Follow
Thank
us
you for watching.
on Twitter.
Meow.
Stay safe out there.
Mhm.
All right.
Safe and eat
Until
fish.
until next time. Bye, everybody.